Just one touch and I'm lost inside your love. Just one touch means more than words can say. Just one touch and I know I'm gonna stay for always.
All right, everybody, welcome. Hopefully you like that intro. I love that intro. It's my favorite intro. I created that just for you guys. My brother's running a little bit late, so he is going to be here. He'll be about 5-7 minutes late. So I told him I'm just going to start anyway because I'm already seeing in the chat, there's already been a lot of 9/11 talk again. And my brother's coming here. We're going to talk about flat Earth, but since he's not here exactly yet, let me just clear the 9/11 for me for a second. Okay, I'll just clear this 9/11, and then, I recommend let's not talk about it because this ain't the show about 9/11. I want to learn more about this flat Earth. But let me just tell you my last opinion on this 9/11 Marriott, just for the last time for me, and then I'm never going to talk about it again. Okay, I'm not here at all bashing any other channels or nothing. But let me just give you my opinion. For me, not for you, for me, I feel the Marriott is not a Mandela effect. For me, okay? For me. Anytime you have a discussion, I've always say, just kind of like, yeah, it is the shortest intro to all time. To me, 30 seconds intro, all you need, boom. That's all I need. So it is short, but maybe I will make a longer intro. So going back to the Marriott real quick, I'll get it off my chest. Just get it out. I'll get it out of here. Okay. So Marriott for me is not a Mandela effect. Okay. I always say it's like, first of all, you always got to follow the source. Anyway, you follow the source, you look at information, you make your decision and all that. Of course, over the weekend, there's been like 5 or 6 videos about the Marriott. Okay, there's been 5 or 6 or 7, and for me, it's not real because I do studying. I remember, my wife's from New York. She was born and raised in New York, and I remember her. Talking about visiting the Twin Towers. So I actually asked her. I didn't even tell her nothing about no hotel, none of that. So I was asking her about her experience of going to the Twin Towers. She said, yeah, her school took a field trip. She's from Cortland, New York, upstate New York. It's by Syracuse. So they did a field trip to the Twin Towers, and they actually had a meeting. They had a conference meeting with their classes inside of a hotel at the Twin Towers. They actually were inside Marriott. They actually had a conference inside Marriott. And so, she was there. There was and my wife never shown anything about being a Mandela affected or not. I didn't even tell her why I'm asking her. And she said they had a conference inside the Marriott. And then they went into the Twin Towers. Of course, we all know the rest is history. And now some people always keep saying, yeah, but look at the media. The media never covered it. You never saw it. You never saw it. So it has to be real. But you got to chill out with the media. So, somebody's here. Hey, Bob, I'm just explaining explaining everybody about 9/11 for the last time for myself.
Yeah.
So, Bob, I'm going into the Marriott. Where is my wife from?
Upstate New York.
Upstate New York. Okay. Yeah. So I was telling everybody that my wife, when she was in high school, they took a field trip to the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
And they had a conference in what? In where?
Oh, they had a conference. Whoa, shit.
At the Marriott Hotel.
Oh, yeah. They always have them in hotels.
Yeah, she had to look it up. She couldn't remember the exact name of the hotel, but she said we had a hotel. It was actually right there by the Twin Towers, right there. So
yeah,
for me, that's why. For me, it's debunked for me. Now, I'm not saying it's debunked for you or anybody else. Now, everybody always talks about the media. Now, I try to use this. I use this example on a couple people that you heard about. Not LeBron James, the basketball player who died in a plane crash. Oh my God, I feel stupid.
LeBron James.
Yes.
LeBron.
Okay. No, not LeBron James. No, the LA Lakers.
Oh
my God, Kobe Bryant. Okay.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant and his daughter died on a helicopter crash. Right?
How old is she? How old is the daughter?
13.
There you go.
I know. Weird, right? Now, how many people, Bob, do you know that was on that helicopter?
Fuck, dude. I don't know. How many people?
9 people.
Nine people.
Who's the news talking about? The basketball star
I know.
and the daughter. Okay.
Just him and his daughter.
Now, the only other person they talk about on this helicopter is a third person who has a daughter who plays with Kobe's daughter going to a basketball game. They never mention anybody else on a plane. Now, think about it.
Yeah.
Twin Towers, and you have a small little tiny hotel compared to the towers. When they all fell down, are they really going to talk about a small hotel versus the towers?
No, well, they're only talking about it because they're not talking about Building 4.
Yes.
They're doing it. Nobody's talking about Building 4. They're doing Building 3. That's all. Now,
if that Marriott was the only building that came down, everybody be talking about it. But why would you? Now I'm talking about CNN, Fox News. They're going to talk about the big building, not the very small Marriott. So I'm just telling people real quick. That is why that I don't. For me, it's not Mandela effect. It might be for you, might be for him, her, but for me, it's not. But don't assume because media didn't cover it, it's not real, and it is real because the media only covers the bigger story, the bigger tower than a small little dinky little hotel.
Yeah, I mean, but bottom line is it is a Mandela effect. I never saw that fucking building before, but I knew about it. Okay, let's put it this way. I knew of it. So in defense of people who've never saw it before, and it is an effect. And nobody's special. Nobody's better than anybody else. I'll be right now. There's no fucking winning. There's no trophy, people. At the end of this thing, it's just about the codes, man. It's about the get rid of everyone. They fed you a fucking breadcrumb, and everyone's fighting over it. It's like, who gives a shit? I didn't know about it. It was in 2010 is when I knew about it. That was it. That's the last time. I never saw a picture of it. I saw it on Judy Wood's fucking. I debunk her shit, but Judy Wood was talking about it back then. But it was a brief over, and then after that, nobody ever mentioned it again. And then the only pictures I ever saw, as personal, nobody else. I only saw the ones that are from an angle. I've never saw a picture from the pictures that are out now are new. That's a Mandela effect, correct? The pictures are brand new. So in defense of the people that are saying, I never saw it before. Me neither, because I never saw them pictures before.
Now, somebody asked, is the C-3PO behind me all gold? Yes, it is all gold. It is all gold, and this face, and this face even comes off.
Ooh.
Yeah, it even comes off here. And he says, my head.
That's cool. See, speaking of gold, people, those of you that are watching Eric Wood, you got to stop. Where's Mike in there? We get Mike fucking started on this. He's in there.
Mike said he actually lived in upstate New York for a year. Is there a place, Mike, that you've never lived? I love that. I love that.
Forget about the cats right here. Forget about the Building 3. That's why they want everyone to talk about that. Fuck that. Go to Building 4 because that's new for you and it's new for me too.
Yeah.
Building
so you know what?
4. Let's focus now. What is in Building 4? Gold, my friend. Gold and lots of precious coins. Okay, let's say it again. Building 4. Do the research, you guys. On fuck the Marriott. Get it out of your heads. Go to Building 4.
They can do the research. And maybe later on we can talk about it because we don't want to talk. Fuck 9/11.
Yeah,
I'm tired of 9/11 right now. I'm tired.
But there is a lot to do with Building 4. I know everyone's like,
and maybe we'll do a show. Maybe we'll do a show called Building 4, and let everybody find it. Now,
about the gold,
flat Earth versus round Earth, and this was brought up a little bit when the Chiquita was on with us, and we talked a little bit about it, and he gave me some recommendations.
Flat Earth, man. I like Flat Earth. It's calming.
Yeah,
I was excited.
This is what Mike recommended me for some books. I asked him, what kind of books should I read about Flat Earth?
Flat Earth.
And if anybody, I'm going to read these books, and if anybody else has recommendations, he told me Earth, Not a Globe, 200 Proofs, Earth Not Spinning Ball, Better and Fat. I can't even read my own handwriting. Better and flatter Earth. Okay, sorry. Better and flatter Earth. I can't even read my own handwriting. 100 Proof that the Earth is not a globe. And he wrote Zetic Astronomy, Zetic Philosophy. So if there's any other books you guys recommend. Now, first of all, it's hard to even have time to read books. So hopefully some of these books got audio so I can listen to in the car, because I do audio myself. I do a lot of driving, man. So
I do it in my sleep, do the audio.
So, I'm new to a lot of this stuff. I've never really researched Flat Earth, and usually this show is always about discovering new things, because a lot of people who watched me from the beginning is new to this too. So hopefully this show will help people go in the direction to, to study. Okay.
You're the newbie on the block. Yeah.
Now, in basic terms, we all grew up in school, but we all went to school where you're taught that the Earth is round.
Yes.
The Earth is round. And when you look up in the sky, the moon is round. The sun is round, is what you suit your eyes.
That's what the deception is.
So, yes. So that is going to be the number one, without even reading books.
Yeah.
That is going to be the number one thing you're going to think of. Round, round, round. Not saying right or wrong, but, that's what you're going to think about round.
Yeah.
But then if somebody talks about flat, you can kind of see a small point of view where, well, if the Earth is round, how come we can only see straight? So, there's point of views for both. And I got some information, and I can't tell you if this information is correct or not. Brian is actually in the house. He could probably, he could clear up a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, so, I'm so happy with Flat Earth today.
This is what it says here. 2% believes the Earth is flat. I don't know if that's changed. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just saying when I'm reading, it says 2% believe the Earth is flat. In the USA, that equals to 6.5 million people believes the Earth is flat.
Yeah.
Now, my question is first, is this guy, Mark Sargent, is he really a true leader in the movement?
I heard of him. Yeah, actually, I have. Actually, I think I saw him in my... that name rings a bell in my sidebar around 2016 because I was coming from the Museum of Flight point of view, Aerospace Museum. Space Museum.
No one is a leader. I get that.
Yeah.
Is Mark Sargent, is he really, really known in the flat Earth community?
He's known. He's big time.
Because I guess he used to be a video game maker and all that, and then he's on this movement. And
he's out of Washington, by the way. He's out of Washington. He's probably one of the islands, one of the Washington Islands.
Oh,
the San Juans, probably all the San Juans.
But what was somewhat interesting is they were talking to some real science that, of course, automatically going to debunk, flat Earth, debunk. Yeah. And he said, of course, to him, he said it's disturbing that people believe this. But now this is the part that the reason I'm saying this, I wrote down. He goes, so it is very important for the government to keep funding science so we keep the information out there to make sure that the flat people stay where they're at. So that's now that part is kind of interesting right there. The government is funding science. So if you look at it as a conspiracy, that the government is holding a conspiracy, it kind of makes sense on that part, because if they're funding only this part of the science to say the Earth is one way, I can see where a conspiracy comes out of that. Because why are they only funding one section of science versus the other science?
Well, here's the facts. Here's the facts. He's a fact jack. At the Museum of Science, or at the Museum of Science, the Aerospace Museum, the Museum of Flight, it was a nonprofit. So I worked for a nonprofit, and they had to get money from the government to function. So Boeing contributed, private contributors, and the government funds the museum. Now, The government, you have to apply for people that know not nonprofit. You got to fill out all this shit to apply for stuff. Now, number one things on there is space. The government wanted the museum to make sure we emphasize space. So they wanted to know about what they got the airplanes. Everyone loves airplanes. There's nothing to do with space with airplanes. It's all within the perimeter of the fucking dome, we want to call it. So it's all fine. But they also wanted us to do space. So in order for us to have money, unfortunately, well, I don't work there anymore, but unfortunately, they had to do space. And the biggest contributors came from those people from the space area. And it also came from NASA. We had large funds from NASA, large funds from Boeing, and it has to emphasize space. It has to. So they got millions of dollars just from the government for space. Now, you got to understand, there are museums out there giving you the truth about this, giving you the truth about that, but the government makes it really hard. They're very thin on handing out any kind of nonprofit money for anything, but when it comes to space, they'll fucking do it up like at a strip club. How many you need, baby? How much you need? They'll make sure you get a lot of money for space. It's a fucking money maker at the museum. So the Museum of Flight had to convert over. Also, people don't know that there are a lot of Jesuits. There are a lot of Jesuits involved with space. And those people that know about Jesuits know about space. They go hand in hand. Donald Dumptruck is a Jesuit. He's a practicing Jesuit. The Pope, the first Black Pope, they call him the Black Pope. He's called the Black Pope. He's the first ever Jesuit Pope. Jesuits are the ones in science. They moved away from the geocentric globe theory, geocentric, which is a plane, and they went into the sun and the stars, and we revolve around the sun, and they went in, a completely different avenue of science. Originally, the Bible says it's a dome, it's a firmament, done deal, over. Focus everything on the inside. Take care of what you have on the inside. Take care of each other on the inside. Do the best you can to take care of the back of the turtle on the inside. But then when the Jesuits took over, it's all about getting up there to fantasy land. Millions of dollars, which don't exist. Money don't exist. But they're just going to perpetuate the idea that you could go. We could get out. We could get out. We could get out. We can get out. Giving you those little fucking dreams to get out, get out, get out. Making movies like Star Trek. Star Trek itself. There is an 80s had a Space Command. There was before Space Force. There's a Mandela effect for people. There was a Space Command before Space Force. Now, remember, they never existed. Before Space Force, there was a Space Command. I'm trying to find my notes on it. There was a Space Command. And in the Space Command, they'd have what looks like the Star Trek symbol. It's the Star Trek symbol. It's the same thing. What people also don't know about the Star Trek symbol, it's the compass. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna show this to people real fast. Here's the Star Trek symbol. That's the Star Trek symbol. That's also the old, let me stress this word, old, back on Sagittarius arm Freemason symbol. It's not the same anymore. Both sides, the Freemason symbols changed when we got here. Now this side of the compass is equal to that side. They're the same side now. However, the original Star Trek, people don't talk about this from Mandela Effect. The original Star Trek had one short side, one long side. One short side, one long side, because that's the Freemason compass. It's what it was. It's Jesuit Freemason compass. And so now the new Star Trek emblem is both sides are exactly the same. At the bottom, both sides are exactly the same. Not like that one. Both sides are exactly the same. It looks like the same. They're the same. On the same plane. In other words, it's representing a plane. It's representing a plane. Before one side was higher, one side was lower. Now it's both sides equal in math. So it represents a plane. If you guys know that. Also, again, they had a Space Command in the 80s. I fucking never heard of Space Command in the 80s. I would know. And on the symbol of the original Space Command, they have the you have to look it up. There is this symbol. It's the triangle symbol, and within it you've got what looks like particles, like a nuclear the nuclear symbol. You know what I'm talking about with the nuclear symbol, with the loop around.
Yep.
There's 2 particles on it. There's 2 particles. This is where it gets really good. There's 2 particles on. So you guys do your research. Go look up the early Space Command symbol from the 80s when it was opened up. You're going to see the original symbol, and it's going to look like an atomic symbol with 2 particles. So I did the research. One of the only elements with 2 particles is helium. So number one is it's blatantly a helium particle. It's a helium atom. So why is the space symbol in Space Command? Why does it have represent a helium atom? Well, the helium is what we use for the balloons. In the military, they use helium in the balloons. They've used helium in the balloons to go high altitude. So Space Command is why helium? Because of the balloons. So Space Command is balloons. It says it in the logo. So do your own research again. Look at the Space Command original symbol. Look at the particles. Look it up yourself with 2 of them on it's definitely helium. So why would they have helium on there? Also, which is interesting, is the star clusters that are on there. And on the present one for the present Space Force is the Pleiades. The Pleiades. So you've got helium and the Pleiades on the symbol. It's kind of interesting. I got notes. You can keep going, Eric. I'm going through my notes, man.
No. So, this guy, Mark Sargent, believes that it was built by someone, the flat earth. It just didn't appear. Is that what the community, is that part true? People think it was built by something out there, not necessarily God, but flat earth was built with the dome on it. Is that part true? Is that belief, or is that just his belief?
I don't know about him. Honestly, I don't know. Someone in the sidebar
Hey, Brian, Nachikita, you guys out there? Is flat Earth built by someone, like built by a being with a dome on it? Because I'm just asking because that's what Mark Sargent believes, and I'm just trying to find the truth.
I'm gonna go back to that symbol though. The new Space Force symbol has 10 stars on one side and 12 stars on the other side. If you take the 10 stars and the 12 stars, you put them together, you got 13. So 13 is represented on the Space Force symbol also.
That's his belief. Brian just said that's his belief. Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure. Like I said, I'm just trying to learn the actual, the true theory behind it. Now, apparently there was one of the tests was done by a person who called himself Parallax, what I'm reading, what I read, that he did a boat test with the telescope. So basically, apparently to this story, to prove that the world's flat is, correct me guys if I'm wrong on this, I'm just reading what I'm seeing, what's out there. And this is probably what most people are seeing, and I want to get corrections on this. So apparently, he had a friend in front of him, 6 miles in front of him, going 6 miles, and with the telescope, he can still see him. So the theory is, if the world is round, you shouldn't be able to see him anymore going 6 miles.
To the curvature, yeah.
In the curve.
Yeah.
Now, I can kind of believe that one. And then I saw a clip where the round Earth science did this test where they had a flag, right? There's 3 colors, like a red, black, and red. And they had the ship go out. And one of the colors on the bottom, because the Earth is round, kinds of disappears. Now, I don't know. That sounds kind of weird. That I'm not saying that the colors don't disappear just because the Earth is round, but seeing a telescope for 6 miles seems more realistic versus a color disappearing. Now, what did he say? We have photos hundreds of miles now, no curve. See, I can believe that, but because a color drops from a flag on an experiment, that proves the Earth is round. I don't know about that one. See, this is why I want to do the show, because Brian gave some great information right there.
Yeah.
Now, is it the edge? Okay, so the Earth is flat, correct? Now, I'm looking at it through the eyes of a dummy. Me, I'm a dummy.
Yeah, in theory, yes.
I'm a dummy. So it's saying what I'm reading is they're saying that it's built. Where is it? It's built basically like ice. It's what holds the water in. The edge is ice wall. Is that what?
That's the theory. There's an ice wall. There's an ice wall keeping it. I have played with this idea so much. I have really massaged and played with this idea a lot because it came from what I interpreted, what I was taught. Let's use the word Sagittarius. And so I went in the military. I was in the Navy. I worked at all the aerospace places. I wholeheartedly, with all my open heart, believed in space and the planets. I believed everything they said. Now, when I worked at the space place, I had all of a sudden, now I've got a realization, a slap in the face, but it's still believing in space, that I was putting up the exhibits and posting all the pictures of space. Now I know, these are just interpretations. These are artist interpretations. And I go, I always thought that they picked it up with the telescope. No, these are NASA guys I'm working with. No. These are renditions. These are interpretations of what we conceive or what we think of what would look like a cluster. Actually, it's like they take a drop of dye and put it in water and watch it just dilute out to the water. So they don't know. So
Brian says we are not even allowed to approach anywhere close to the edge. So no one can prove an edge either way. Of course, that makes sense. I mean, if the government is covering it up, they're not going to let you out there. I mean, do we really need that many Navy ships, Coast Guard ships? I don't know.
Admiral Byrd.
I read
all these conspiracies.
Well, no. See, this is why I want to do the show, because I want to know. Because if a normal person like me is writing stuff that I'm seeing that might not be correct, where do you get the correct information? And I got books, but the honest truth is it's hard to read a lot of books, when you have a high lifestyle. So now, Brian says, hold on, Brian's got great information. I like this. You can travel south of the 65th parallel, never mind go across Antarctica.
Yeah, Antarctica. I did a lot of research for Antarctica. I actually did that in college. Geology. I wanted to be a geologist originally. And so there's a lot of, in my time, I don't know, I saw the evidence for the stations. They had a lot of stations there, and they were specifically there for geologists to go out and look for meteorites, because there's supposed to be thousands of millions of meteorites that hit the ground every fucking day and burn in the atmosphere. Some of it hit the water. Some of it hit wherever it's supposed to hit. And there's a meteorite hunting fucking crew. And so out in Antarctica was meteorites. And these guys would go out. Because I wanted to work at the station. I actually was going to apply for a job up there. You could do like 4 months on, and then you got like 5 months with a big fat paycheck to go do whatever you want. Kind of like working the boats. But it's easier in Antarctica, and I have a college degree or advanced degree. So anyway, they went out specifically to look for these meteorites, but they're only allowed to go so far within so many areas. They have so many vehicles that can only go so far before they fucking freeze up. And they always had little sections. This belonged to Russia. This belonged to fucking Japan.
The UN controlled Antarctica?
Yeah, the UN controls it. Also, everybody's got their own sections.
Because he wrote, UN controls Antarctica. Only military and scientists who are approved are allowed to go.
Correct. I was filling out the application, and it's fucking huge. It's got you got to do a background check. So you got to do a whole fucking background check. All of that. It's serious to get a job up there. They want to make sure they know who the fuck you are.
Hey, we got a troll. Jaden, AZ, round earth, you idiots.
Absolutely,
dude,
they're partner.
Dude,
like,
you're the idiot, dude, because we're talking about the possibility of both. I'm not telling anybody to believe one or the other. We're discussing on why one believes one way, one believes the other way. At the end of the day, it's up to you what you want to believe in. So if you fucking watch the show, that you want to be such a fucking idiot yourself. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, he's a swell person. I can't put down people because I used to debunk. So this person's just a piece of shit.
We're not debunking anything. We're just giving the information, the correct information out for you to make the decision.
Yeah. But back to Antarctica, I know because I was going to apply for it, and you have to apply for certain states. Even the Swedes are up there. They had our own sections. They used to have them all along the shoreline, and then they have them all the way up in there. But they found it's almost a joke because they're finding these meteorites, and they're trying to prove that there's life outside, like the panspermia. They're pushing panspermia. For those of you who don't know what panspermia is, it's how the planets. That's how life goes to planet to planet to planet. The panspermia. So they had found this one meteor that the Clintons, Bill Clinton endorsed. They sawed it in two, and they found what they thought to be fossilized bacteria. So he had found the fucking quintessential alien life form out there. It's a joke. Now, I've handled meteorites, and it looks like if you take molten metal and go to any fucking kiln or whatever, you can make it yourself. Have it all oxidized. And I'm like, this is like something you can make in a fucking. I'm not buying it 100%. These meteorites are real. I'm not stupid. Even you could use a radiation detector and it's still not detecting anything. So how's this thing not radioactive? There's a moon rock at the Museum of Flight, and I was using a metal detector. I was using the rad detector. It should emit radiation. It did not emit radiation. So if this was on the moon, it should emit radiation. These meteorites theoretically are in space. They should be radioactive. They're not. You can handle them. They're not radioactive. So that's telling me it's debunked. So I'm trying to prove that they're fucking moon rocks. I was trying to prove Antarctica has all these fucking meteorites coming back in for collections and people are buying them. I'm like, they're not even radioactive. So how are you even claiming these are fucking anything from outer space? And how is it that Mars is pushing fucking meteorites through space? Did a big chunk of Mars fucking blow off that we don't know about? A lot of the rocks that hit the Earth, it's a moon rock. So how did the moon spit fucking rocks over to the meteor hit the moon? I haven't seen a meteor hit the moon. In my entire life, I've never seen a meteor hit the fucking moon. They say it hit it all the time. I have never seen it. No one's got it on camera. Not seen no meteors hit the fucking moon. I have not seen an asteroid hit the fucking moon. So again, with the lies.
This is Flat Accord Music wrote, once you realize that the powers that be would never tell us the truth about anything and the noblest oblige is a lie. There is only one possible shape, because they shape only the globe and have. You know, I'll tell you something about the media real quick. You ever heard of probably not. You ever heard of a basketball player named Irving?
I have not.
Well, this is kind of cool. There's a basketball player in 2017. I guess he was on a podcast and he was talking to. I didn't hear that podcast part. He was talking to somebody about believing in the flat Earth. Okay, yeah. There's a video called Kerry. I'm probably saying his name all wrong. I apologize, guys. Irving argues with reporter over flat Earth because he was at an All-Star, right? They were interviewing him, and this reporter kept asking him about flat Earth, right? He's like, dude, there's more about me than just flat Earth. It's something that I believe in. And this reporter kept pushing, like, well, this is bad for kids. It's like, you know, and it kind of shows you that he wasn't talking at all about the flat Earth, right? He brought it up. This reporter brought it up, and he was just like, dude, are we really here to talk about that?
Yeah.
Do you really think this is, you know what I mean? And it's a cool little 3-minute clip, and it's just kind of cool because it's just kind of cool. I'm not saying it's cool because he believes in flat Earth. It's kind of cool to show how a reporter is one-minded, only one way, and he wouldn't even talk about his game plan, how he's doing, why he's in the All-Star, why he's there. Only thing he can talk about is he talked to somebody on a podcast about a flat Earth. I don't care if you don't believe in flat Earth or not. You don't.
I'm evidence-based. People that know me, I'm an asshole. In fact, I discovered the same size assholes are men and females, so I'm known for being an asshole, knowing about assholes. I debunked, and so I did the rad meter on some of the capsules that were in space. One of the Russian capsules, the Soyuz capsule, was in space. I did the rad meter. There was nothing coming off of it, man.
Brian knows about the reporter. He just said that reporter was here in Boston. See? He probably saw the video. No
evidence of these things. They were made of asbestos liner, because asbestos, another lie, asbestos causes cancer. You and I used to go hunting in an asbestos mine. I don't have cancer in our lungs. I'm fine with asbestos. Anyway, that's another lie. But the asbestos material, there was no radiation coming off of it at all. The metal was not emitting any radiation at all. It wasn't harmful for anybody. You just can't get rid of anything radioactive if it's radioactive. You don't just turn it off. You don't just wash it off. It's going to be radioactive as it was in space. And these things were not. I'm walking around going, I don't get it. I don't get it. There's more evidence to support there is no space now.
Well, let me ask a question to you and everybody, because somebody does have a fair question. It's on here. It says, I'm kind of confused. Antarctica, I see on Google. I can book a cruise there. Why do we all say we can't go there? Not a troll, just curious.
Good question.
Question.
I don't know.
I don't know. Can you book you can?
But you can't. You could get close to it, but I know personally.
Brian says the cruise just takes you to okay. That's exactly what the show is about, right there. Trying to help each other out correctly. I love that. That's perfect.
They can only go up to the shoreline. It will not. You cannot set foot in Antarctica without permission from the governments, from the UN. You cannot. But believe me, I tried. I filled out the application. I wanted to go work there. Okay, I watched The Thing. I love that movie. Was it The Thing? Was it called The Thing? No, was it called?
Oh, the remake with Kirk Russell, The Thing?
Yeah. I wanted to
The Thing, that's part of my intro. That one scene, the guy on fire, that's from The Thing.
Yeah. I wanted to work there, and you've got to fucking wholeheartedly fill out this thick-ass application. They got to research your background. You just can't go to Antarctica. You can't. I don't give a fuck what people say. You can't. I can't. I was going to get a job there. They have locked that motherfucker down.
Brian wrote, you can't go anywhere near mainland and then explore it. And then
you can't.
Yeah. And then Tranquility Pyramids wrote, you can go to the islands, not Antarctica.
Yeah, the islands, yeah. The new ones for me, they're popping up everywhere. They're Mandela Effect islands.
What's up?
I've seen these islands before.
See, Betty, good. Betty's thanking Brian for that answer. That's what I was hoping to do here, because, like I said, I have a lot of new listeners that's from, my Mr. Truth Dot days and doesn't know anything about flat Earth. And I don't know a super whole lot. Tranquility Pyramids wrote, one is called Deception Island. That's a cool name.
I want to see what's up there. I want to see what's in Antarctica. Again, I want to go work there.
Here's a science question. I want somebody to trying to help me give the answer. Somebody wrote, because on one of his videos, they asked a flat Earth person, how does the water, like the waves, how does the waves work? If it's not controlled by gravity with the moon. And then in one of his videos, they put that it's because there's magnets underneath the ground on flat Earth. Now, is that true? Is that what the part of the theory is? There's a magnet beneath the ground?
There's the argument for it's gravity. There's the biggest argument for gravity at the moment. Now, if you're on a ball, let's just go fucking basic here. You're on a ball. If you take a ball and spin it, things fly off of it. put it in water, and spin it. Now, I worked at an aerospace museum. Even I had a difficult time explaining that to kids. I was teaching there. I can't explain. You put the ball. Now, however, if you're inside of a sphere, then you have the centrifugal force where you have gravity. So I almost tell people that if they say, "What would your guess?" Give me a guess. I said, "Well, hell, we're inside the Earth. I can't explain unless you know what gravity is." And the other thing for gravity is electrical. It's an electrical universe. Everything's electrical. So you're a negative and a positive. So it's like you're being pulled down like a fucking, like you said, like magnets. Not necessarily magnets per se, but you can have heated.
Oh, hey, look, we got Brian.
What?
Hey, Brian, we got the expert.
Shit, there we go.
I'm no expert. I just wanted to make a few points.
No, this is why we're doing it. I want to learn. There's so much misinformation out there. For a new guy like me, I don't know what's true and what's not and where to go to learn this more. I got books recommended to me by Mike.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
I think it's great that you guys are asking the questions, honestly. I'm enjoying the show a lot. But the thing you guys keep going to a lot, like let's say there was a flat earth channel, right? And they were going to talk Mandela effect. You would hope that as they're trying to get their audience to learn it, that they would talk about the proofs rather than the theories on what's causing it. You guys are kind of going right to the stuff that's all theory. I just wanted to put a couple of solid things out there that debunk the globe real quick. And then I'll bounce out and let you guys keep talking. I want to know my number one is, how do airplanes work on a spinning ball? If the earth is spinning underneath you at 1,000 miles an hour from west to east, how do you ever land an airplane, especially one flying north-south? How do you land it? And not only how do you land it, so you're flying north-south. It's runways coming at you sideways if the earth's spinning. Not only how do you land it, but they'll literally tell you that, oh, well, it just works. The pilots fly as if they're flying over a non-rotating surface. Well, what do you mean as if? How does that just work? They don't even try to give you like a calculation that the pilots do to adjust. And if you're flying over a ball, I mean, this is so easy. Just picture a ball. Hold on, I have a ball.
There we go. He's helping us out. We're new to the guys. We're new to the fucking flat earth.
You got a ball. You're flying a plane over it. If you don't dip your nose down, how do you go around the ball? You're going to end up in outer space. So you know what they'll do? They'll just pull the magic word out, gravity, and all the science fans will believe it. How does gravity so selective that it pulls the plane down perfectly, holds the ocean down right, doesn't crush us, fucking butterflies can fly up? It's complete fucking and utter nonsense. Complete and utter nonsense. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. The plane can land because the fucking earth isn't moving. And then they'll get into all sorts of fucking different bullshit with you. It's absolutely fucking crazy.
He's passionate. We're dipping our toes into it. So I'm trying to come back I'm coming from an area where I believed all that shit for a long time ago. And so I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm not fucking lying. So in 2016, I woke up with the whole thing we talked about. I'm going to go back into that. When all of a sudden, all over like God was putting it there. I had all these flat earth things popping up on I never went to a flat earth channel before in my life. Why is the algorithm giving it to me? Flat earth this, flat earth that. I go, why is the algorithm giving me all this flat earth shit? So it got me in. It got me in the fucking the spiral. And so I'm going into it. Not only is everything fucking changing and fucking weird, and these cons are in the sky, I'm looking at the flat earth theory. And it was plausible. Like again, I was running around the fucking museum with a rad meter. We had a rad meter because of some of the instruments that come in are radioactive, so we got to check them. They've got radioactive. Some of the instruments. That's why they glowed in the airplanes. So I was using the rad meter to check some of the equipment, some of the rocks. There's nothing feeding on it. I mean, it was not in space. So I was going through a little bit. I got depressed. I literally sat down and I'm depressed because I've always wanted to go to space. And I was like, I feel alone and isolated underneath a dome. I got depressed, but over the time, I started realizing, you know what? It caused me to focus here. I wasn't looking over at the fucking movies anymore with this space shit. I'm focusing on the ground. I was looking at the things we could do here and fix the waters here, fix the land here, fix the government here, because we ain't going nowhere. I was realizing it was kind of sad for people out there. That's why a lot of people can't jump over to the flat earth, because it's depressing at first. I got over it.
Dude, if people are gonna search for truth, you can't have those type of this topic's too triggering or it's too depressing. Oh, hold on a second, Dean, go out there, go. If you actually just go by what you honestly know inside. So if you didn't go to, we know that school's bullshit, right? We know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you never went to school, if you grew up in the wild, right?
Yeah, that's us.
Would you ever come to the conclusion that you lived on a spinning ball and there were people living upside down, or would that be the most fucking absurd thing you've ever heard?
Yeah, it would be absurd. It wouldn't be relevant. It would
So
be relevant.
If that's the most absurd thing you've ever heard, then just tell me why you believe that. Based on what experiences you've ever had, do we believe that? Other than you were told to believe that based on cartoon pictures that they gave us, and you were told that people smarter than us figured it out, and you can't question it because you don't have the fucking degrees.
Yeah. I went to school for it, and now I'm debunking it. I can't fucking there is especially in this place. When I watch the eclipse, I've never seen an eclipse like that. That's impossible. They're like two fucking milled coins are directly on top of each other.
And there's still different theories within like the flat Earth community on a lot of things, and the eclipses are one of them. But here's the thing: what the heliocentrics tell you, with the moon blocking out the sun, you show me the fucking footage of any fucking solar eclipse where the moon even approaches the sun. I'll wait.
Yeah, same thing.
True.
Yeah. I was at my workplace. I even asked the guys a question. This doesn't make sense to me. They're more like, shh, we just say it anyway. Well, there's this space thing. We don't say it anyway. I'm working in this capsule. I can't comprehend this thing going into space. Now, let me tell people about. I'm going to give the people a little idea about space that they don't think about. We think of space as a fantasy, as a movie, and like Star Trek. But let me tell you guys the reality of space, of what it's supposed to be. If a submarine, now we all watch submarine movies. When a submarine goes to a certain depth, you hear that fucking bing, 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 bing. The pressure. They're going into fucking depths of the ocean. The pressure, that fucker will crush and boom, 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 boom. That's scary. So people are scared to go in submarines. But then they watch Buzz Aldrin walk in a fucking capsule going into the heart of space. Now, people, it's the same thing, theoretically.
They never even show them going through any fucking. They never even show them going through any like seals or anything, any to depressurize. They just come in and out like it's nothing.
Correct. And you ever see anything depressurized? It boils from the inside. It boils. It blows the fuck up. They even had one guy. We had the pictures of it in NASA. They were experimenting with deep pressurizing. They had a fucking astronaut in there. We had the footage. I saw the footage. The dude was in there, and they took the fucking pressure out, and he almost died. His shit was boiling from the inside. He fucking passed out. His eyes were ready to pop out of his skull. It was that bad. They had to get him out. He almost died. You can't do that in space. It's that simple. I tell people it's simple as this. Think of a submarine going to the depths of the fucking ocean. It's the same concept. And that's a submarine. That's a very well built.
Yeah, and a fucking submarine has a fucking machine shop on it to fix things. There's nothing like that on this ISS. There's no fucking video of even the construction of this thing that they tell you is the most marvelous thing of all time. And like I always tell people, I don't give a fuck what I don't really know where we live, but I'm going to tell you, if you're going to fucking be honest with yourself and think you're looking for truth, but you're going to accept the ISS is real, you're fucking out of your mind, dude. I mean, it's full of green screens, wire harnesses, people in fucking gorilla suits, football jerseys. They're up there doing duets with the fucking bare naked ladies down on Earth with no fucking delay. It's like, it's a complete mockery, dude. But besides that, what's up?
You can't have their hair like that. You can't have their hair like that. They have the girls with the hair. That's no, man. Because if you're in the vacuum of space, you've got zero gravity. The last thing you want to do is breathe in that lady's fucking hair into your throat. That will cause you anxiety.
They got the hair everywhere. They're up there fucking, they got long hair, there's shit going everywhere. They're blowing water bubbles around electronic components. I mean, come on, dude. Come on.
No. There was even another debunking guy who debunked space, because if you were to take a ship, this is a fact, people, just fucking use your brain. You have a ship, it's going to Mars. So you've got a crew. That crew's wearing regular clothes. What you don't think is you see a beautiful human being, but humans are disgusting. You've got small micro fucking insects living in your eyebrows, in your hair. You've got enzymes that are foreign to your body in your mouth to help you digest food. You've got foreign things in you. Not to mention your skin flakes off, sweat, and that little things eat it. So you've got you sweat, and so little bullets of sweat's going to go all over the inside of that. They have a filtering machine, they call it, but over time, over extended period of time, you're going to have water build up. Water's going to build up in small cracks and crevices, and when water, especially in space with all these people around, you're going to have bacteria. You're covered in bacteria. Your body is infested with bacteria. It's in your feces to help digest your fucking death.
They should have a whole nother crew of people there just as a cleanup crew after the so-called scientists. Like, they don't have any of that.
Well, by the time you land the ship on Mars, everybody's dead because you have a superbug. You have a superbug in there with the fucking bacteria that's built up within that ship. As soon as it opens up, wherever you're going, everybody's going to be sick anyway before they get there because of the superbug. Bacteria is going to be all over that fucking. They have to scrub in a submarine. They have to do super scrubs, and even then they can't stop it. Cruise ships have fucking people dying every day from whatever bugs moving around the ship. Now imagine being in a spaceship. It'd be a floating fucking superbug by the time it reached whatever destination. If it got there at all, it's not going to.
So,
hey, can somebody in the chat put Brian's YouTube channel in the chat so people know they could go to his site to learn a lot more about flat Earth? So somebody please put his YouTube. Sorry about that. Continue.
No, I was just going to say, let's go back to some of the conversation you were having earlier. Let's bring it back down to the Earth. And I love talking about fake space, but more observations on the Earth.
Yes.
If the Earth is a ball, if the Earth is a ball, it has to have curvature. The ball has to have curvature, just like this ball I just showed you. Where is it?
Yeah.
So the ball that they tell us, 24,901 miles.
Yeah.
There's a formula, 8 inches per mile square. It has to drop off. And it's not just 8 inches per mile because that's a slope, 8 inches per mile square. So these distances that we see things at hundreds of miles. I mean, just the shot that came out in 2015, that was a huge thing for Flat Earth, was the shot across Lake Michigan by a guy named Josh Nowicki. He took a shot between 50 and 60 miles. There should have been 2,400. That's half a mile. 2,400 feet of curvature. So anything under 2,400 feet, you shouldn't even see the top of it. And you could see nearly the entire fucking skyline.
I can agree with that.
We have more shots now, even infrared shots going several hundred miles. And then let's talk about the stuff with the boats. People talking about boats going out, cameras and all that. So they tell you, so when you go up, they'll tell you that, you have to be so high to see the curve. But then they'll tell you, you see the boat go over the horizon at 3 miles away. Well, here's the thing. If the boat is going over a curve, as it's going over, this is so simple. You're going to be like, how could I ever fucking believe that? Boat goes out, right? So it's going out, and you see it disappear from, the bottom first. So it's just, you have to see it get smaller and smaller. So you think, it's going over the curve. Yeah. As it does that, whip out a fucking camera, dude, zoom in, and you bring the whole thing back. Now you're left with a paradox. Is the Earth fucking flat and level across the water, or do I have a magic camera that fucking lifts boats up?
Well, how would you answer if a person goes, hey, Brian, if the Earth is flat, I'm just asking this. I'm not saying I believe it. What if somebody goes, how come the moon or the sun's not flat?
I would say, how do you know the moon or the sun is? We don't know what the fuck the moon is. You guys talked earlier. You guys talked earlier about you look up and you see round. Well, round doesn't mean sphere. Round means spherical.
Yeah. I was saying, in school, it's easy for you to believe the Earth is round because when you look up, everything's round. It looks round.
And that's the stupidest reason. That's but that's not here. That's the pool table is a good one. We use that example. You got, say you're playing 9-ball. You got nine planets, 9 pool table balls, right?
True.
The ball's are round. Does that mean the table's round? No, the table's flat.
No, well, see, I was in the Navy, and there's a thing called darkened ship. Now, you wouldn't have people understand. To support your theory, we have darkened ship. The United States Navy is called darkened ship. Darkened ship means all the lights are turned off. Why are the lights turned off? Because you can see. Hi, Eric. You got to be. Because you can see a ship. You can see a ship 20, 30, 40, 100 miles out. We can't smoke on the decks. Why can't you smoke on the decks?
Because they can't see you. And if there was a fucking curve, they wouldn't see you. If there was a curve, your periscopes would be irrelevant. Your fucking rail guns would be irrelevant. And if the submarines, if the guy that's what do they call it? A submarine captain? If the captain of the submarine didn't adjust for the fucking curvature of the earth, your submarine would surface just like a plane would go into outer space.
Yeah, 100% fact, people. I don't care the flat earth, the round earth, whatever. Without even talking about the earth flat or whatever. If fact, in the United States Navy, we have a darkened ship. You can't smoke after a certain time because you can. Now, let me say this again. You can see a cigarette someone lighting a cigarette out in the blackest of fucking black night flat. You could see him light it, man. I've seen it with my eyes. We've seen Japanese ships way out on the horizon. It's impossible to see these ships, but they're out there, and you can't see them if it's a curve. I got to stress that enough. With my own eyes, I've seen. That's why I debunk. I can say, yeah, correct. Though maybe someone says, well, there could be a slight curvature, maybe a slight curvature. Or was it? Up the ass Tyson says that it's pear shaped now. They're changing their opinion to pear shape.
Yeah,
I've never heard that.
That guy's a fucking agent against humanity. In my opinion, why he said it's fucking pear-shaped is because it's going to start to get exposed that the distances in the southern hemisphere are greater than what they've been telling us. So then he can tell you, I always told you it was bigger below the equator.
That's what I said to myself. I said, now that they're having, if they just went along with the same program, there would be no problem. There's just so many people waking up with this flat, including people like myself that work in an aerospace museum, looking out at the flat earth going, hey, wait a minute, man, the math ain't fucking correct now. So guys like myself are getting him fucking like, oh shit, even the people that are in the industry are fucking waking up. So now they had to readjust it. I've never heard in my life anybody talk about a pear-shaped planet.
That's what happens. Well, that's what happens when you give a fucking shill a microphone.
Let's look at a pear, man. Take the pear and look at the shape, the round ball, and then look at the end. Now, if you look at it, it's flat. I mean, he's basically confessing it because you look at it, it's a flat at the bottom of a pear and it has a round edge, comes down with a little bit. We don't know what's underneath. It could be a pear. But it still defines itself as flat, regardless of it's a pear shape. It still answers the question that it's flat on the bottom of the pear. Then, you could say it's flat, or you can say it's round underneath. Okay, well, but it's still flat on the surface. We don't know what's underneath.
Let me ask another question. So, one guy wrote, "Brian, your head's going to pop."
Yeah.
But when you look up the sky. What are the stars?
Well, okay. I'll start with what we can tell that they are. Okay. All we can tell is that they're lights in the sky. I think it gets on a deeper level. My opinion, and this is all theory, I think a lot of it is spiritual. I think some of them are the watchers. I think some of it are not. I think some of them are there to drown that out. But yeah, but the thing with the stars in a flat Earth thing that we can use for the stars as proof. They tell you that the Earth is doing this. 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, 66,000 miles an hour around the sun, at a tilt, at a wobble. The sun's doing, I think it's like 500,000 miles an hour. The sun moves now, that's weird for me too. So the sun's doing 500,000 miles an hour, and the galaxy's doing like 2 million miles an hour. Now remember, not all the stars are in our galaxy, so they're not even doing any of these motions with us. But every year they return like a fucking clock, bro.
Yeah, I see that. I see that footage. Some guys were doing actual footage. It's another thing that got me. This is in 2016. One of the things that made me, I'm going to be honest, it made me depressed. I can't remember this guy's name. He was on YouTube. I wish I remember his name. He's a flat earther. He became one. He woke up like I did. Instead of jumping over to the Mandela shit, he went straight into like, what God, the fucking earth is flat. He did a camera set where he mounted it, and he got the fucking sky going like this. Like a record. It was a record. It was a perfect clock.
The sky and the sun and the moon and the stars are a perfect clock in a calendar, and they would certainly not work on a spinning, wobbling ball darting through space. We're stationary. This is why it's important. We're stationary. We're the center of the universe. We're not an insignificant fucking speck of dust on the godless universe, which is what they want you to believe.
I know
We're
that.
special. We have a soul, and they want to hide that from us. Everything that we need on the earth was put here by the Creator. It all regenerates itself. We're told that it scares. We're told to all hate each other. We're meant to be all divided. It's all part of the control plan. It's all about control. And there's a lot of other theories about why. And they could certainly, in my opinion, I think they're definitely hiding more land. And if you're a ball and you tell people it's already exploded and you have it mapped out, if they go, they're just going to come back. Whereas if there's a perimeter and we're not allowed to access it, well, what's that tell you?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that.
Here's a good kind of question that came from the chat. What about rainbows? How are they viewed by a flat earth?
That's easy. That's easy. The globe earthers will tell you we don't have a barrier. So there's this vacuum of space next to our fucking atmosphere, but somehow there's no barrier. That doesn't work. You can't have a vacuum next to it. It's ridiculous. I even have to fucking explain that. But here's the other thing. Try and make a rainbow inside your house. You can't without a mirror. So what's mirroring it outside? The firmament.
That's what I said. I said it's obviously a reflection. It's a reflection off a fucking dome, man. I'm like, wait a minute.
Hey, this is important. Like I said, there's a lot of new people here that hearing this stuff for the first time. So sometimes these questions might seem simple, but
it's a reflection of a curvature. It's to me evidence of a curvature. It's the curvature of the atmosphere. It's the curvature of a fucking firmament, man. It's I don't know if it's ice up there. I don't know if it's a fucking gel or maybe it's a plasma. Maybe it's a plasma and whatever's coming through it's pure electrical and it's coming through. I have a telescope. I bought a telescope. Here in England. It's an old 1800s fucking beautiful or early 1900s brass, beautiful, huge telescope. I paid a lot of money for it. And I have been watching these fucking stars and they're swirling plasma balls, man. I'm not seeing what they're seeing. I worked at the museum. We have pictures of the planets. We have pictures of this. I'm going to tell you guys one more thing. I was at the Astrological Center in London. I went to it. I went to the center where they're looking at the stars, and I walked in, and I shit you guys not. I talked to the guy. I said, he says it's broken. What's broken? I want to see the pictures of what you. He had pictures up of the planets, beautiful, just like I had at the Museum of Flight. I could know they're fake because the Museum of Flight they're already fake. So he had the same fake pictures up representing the planets. So he was taking a pic that he's looking at. I go, no. Those are graphics. I had those at the Museum of Flight. Those aren't the real. You're not taking pictures of the real planet. That's a graphic. I know that graphic. I had it at the Museum of Flight. So where's the actual picture of the planet? Show me the picture. And I wanted to see because he had a huge telescope. Monster motherfucker. It's been broken. I said, broken? How long has it been broken? He says it's been broken since like early 80s. What? Wait. So where did this picture come from? He said, well, this is before it broke. What? Wait a minute. I shit you guys not. It's broken. It's broken. You guys can't fix this fucking telescope. You can't prove what you're saying. You're just showing the shit that the telescope picked up a long time ago. But these are graphics. I said, I know graphics, man. I work at an aerospace museum. These are not real. These are computer graphics. So you're telling me that these are real? Well, yeah, they're real. They got it from the telescope. The broken telescope. I don't get it.
Hey, I'm going to tell you what's cool about the chat. Mike Haley wrote, love this chat. And there's a lot of people in the chat even still talk about the rainbow. Like, rainbow proves the dome. Then dome creates the rainbow. Then not reflection, refraction.
Can you blow me up so I get the big screen so I can show something?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you didn't there.
Let me see.
You got to blow it up.
Oh, hold on.
No, you just got to right click my picture and hit solo.
Just right click.
Just right click over my image and hit solo layout.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm clicking right click. I have a Mac computer. It's not. I mean, you're talking about your picture on the bottom, right?
I'm talking about so it just puts me on the screen. You can't just put the cursor over me and change it? You can on a PC.
You got an
This
Apple.
is a Mac. It's not letting me.
All right. Just leave it like that.
I apologize.
No, it's fine. So check this out.
Let me show you.
You get the basketball again, right?
Here we go.
Oh,
We got the Nike.
there it is. Solo. There it is.
Oh,
I
yeah.
got it. I got it.
And let me turn my camera so maybe I can get a better.
Okay.
Cool.
I learned something every day. Thank you.
I don't know if my camera will rotate. If not, I'll just put it back. Here we go. All right.
Blow his head up.
So you got
They want me to blow your head up.
right? So you got the basketball here, right? You see the stripe?
Yes.
We're gonna say that's USA. That's us, okay? Oh, sorry, I know you're over in the UK right now, Robert. But okay, this is us. This is us, and it's noon. It's noontime, so we're directly facing the sun, okay? With the stripe of the Nike ball, directly facing the sun. So it's noontime, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna go. So when we spin, what happens? It gets dark, right? This is what
Yeah.
they say.
That's what they
24
say.
hours later. 24 hours later, we come back around, right?
Yep.
So you see the stripes facing the jar again, right? So it's high noon again, right?
Yep.
So if we spin 24 hours every time, spin around, what happens in 6 months? We're on the other side of the sun, but we have the stripe facing away now. So day and night would be flipped after 6
It would
months.
flip. You're right. Good point.
But you don't see
Yeah.
that.
I can see
Because we're not going around the sun. The sun is going above us. Just as it appears, too, by the way. If you were never told that you were whipping around the sun and all this, would you ever believe that? Or would you look up and say, oh, the sun's over there and the sun's moving here and it's setting over there? You even say the sun's setting over there. So you're talking about the sun moving, even though it's not setting, and we can talk about that. So you want to hear a real mind fuck? Take me on a big story. You want to hear a big mind fuck? So you go to the beach like I was telling you, and you watch the boats go out, and you can zoom in, bring them back. You can do that to the sun.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm fucking.
You think you watch the sunset, you think it's setting, you zoom in with a good enough camera, you raise it back up. Do you really think you're never mind lifting up boats, now we're lifting up the sun with our magic camera? No, we're just zooming in. It's the way your eyes work. It comes to a point. When it gets to a certain distance, everything comes in like railroad tracks. If you watch railroad tracks or telephone lines, they look like they're coming in at each other. Or a long hallway in a hotel, it looks like the walls are coming in, the ceiling's coming down, and the floor's going up into a little pin of light. That's what you see with the sun. That's what you see with the boats over the horizon. And if either one were really going below a curvature of the earth, your camera wouldn't be able to do fucking shit about it.
Yeah, I could be. I'm a witness to that one, man. And I debunked, man. And I was on. Like I said, I was on a ship. We do darkened ship for that very fucking reason. You don't just have to do darkened ship because. You don't have to worry. If there's a curve, you don't need to worry about it because they're not going to see you coming until you reach that one little pinnacle point where they can see lights over the horizon. No, you got to turn it off because it's flat. You can see it forever.
Now, the basketball thing was cool where you're showing about the 24-hour day and night. Now, with the flat, how do we get the day and night with the flat Earth in a way? How does the sun work there?
Because it's just moving farther away from you.
That's it?
It's just doing circles
like
above
up and
it.
down, basically?
It's like a light. It's like a light. Look, let's take my street light, for example, right?
Okay.
Right now, I can see my neighbor's porch light, right? If I go 5 blocks over, am I going to see it? Even if there's not trees in my way, I'm not going to see it that far away.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I showed you guys this before. Like, Eric, can you do me a fucking single one?
Yeah. Now I know how to do it.
Okay, you guys can see that. That's an artifact. Now, this is back to archaeology. This right here, if I can get it real close, you're going to see a sun and a moon under a firmament.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah. There's
This
a lot
one-
of so much about it.
Okay, here we go.
This is an actual old Israelite calendar. And it clearly shows
It looks like a dome right there.
at home from the day. Well, they were all stupid back then. They didn't know. They were geocentric. Absolutely, they were geocentric. They knew exactly what it was. They knew exactly where the sun was supposed to be. They based mathematics off of it. They based the early math off of geocentric fucking ideas. It wasn't until presently we've changed the math to adjust to a lie.
Do you know where that was found? My friend in the chat's asking. Do you know where that was found? That piece you're holding? My buddy in the chat's asking.
Oh, actually, I'd have to
Somebody wrote, "Get him, Brian." I just want
hold on.
tranquility. I'm not saying I'm against flat Earth. I just want to learn here. So when people say "get Brian," I'm not saying it's not real or not. I'm just learning.
Newark, Ohio. They found this in Ohio.
Yeah, that's what Paul said. He said they found that in the States, wasn't it?
Yeah, they found that in the States. I mean, not to go off track anybody, but it's the same. See, archaeology is following up right now. All these things are making sense because let's go back to the flat Earth. Everything's closer now. Everything's flat. It is possible now. It is 100% plausible for Israelites to go to the United States of America before it was the United States. They could have went to the Americas. People could have traveled. Romans could have traveled to the Americas. There are artifacts popping up all over the world, which didn't make any sense before because how did they get there? They must have flying machines. No. They could travel there now. They could travel very easily. The Vikings could have traveled to the United States or to the Americas. They could have. The Israelites now, they've proven with DNA testing with the Cherokee natives that they do have and carry that old Y chromosome. They carry it. They carry the fucking Jewish Israel, proto-Israelite, early Israelite DNA. They carry it there. So it makes sense that they're finding artifacts. I don't know, lost tribes of Israel. We're going to go into that argument. That's a huge argument, but it is plausible now because of the flat Earth. If you keep your mind in a mindset saying, okay, Earth is flat, then think archaeology. For me now, knowing the Earth is flat, it is. Going back and looking at early archaeology and all these things found, now they're all plausible. Find Roman architecture in South America is now plausible because it's flat. You could sail anywhere, man. It's not that hard anymore. You can go, everything's condensed, and you can go all over the globe. So these artifacts that are popping up all over the globe from other areas of the world is now 100% plausible. And right there, it says it's a dome. This is old. I
just want to say, F.E. wrote, "It's great to have these discussions, brother. Open mind, critical thinking." That's exactly what I'm trying to do here.
I'd be laughed at in the archaeology world. I'll never get a job in archaeology.
and we're like that in all the professions, and that you have to ask why? And why are people triggered by this topic before they even look into it? Because it's obviously a programmed response. Since the day you were born, you were indoctrinated into the globe, and then once you got into school, you were indoctrinated to think anything that opposes the globe is stupid and done by ignorant people that roamed the desert and didn't know shit.
I think the media hurts themselves when they don't truly really listen to both sides, because when they're showing the science people doing these experiments, they actually had flat Earth people there, right? When the flat Earth people were doing experiments, there was no science there. So it's like, I feel like they kind of hurt themselves where you're willing to listen to us, but they're not willing to listen to you. Just like that little basketball clip I was telling you about where that media guy was just attacking the basketball player. He was like, dude, what? It's what I believe in. Why are we talking about this?
And they endlessly mock it. You don't even know. Like, I talk about the mockery against the Mandela effect. You can take that, times it by about 50, and that's what we see against the flat Earth. And in fact, when I go live tonight with Cameron on my channel, I have a lot of it. Just in the last 2 days, dude. It's endless, dude. It's endless. It's endless, the mockery. And the shit they come up with last week, you know what they said? They came out with a story. They published an article that the hottest thing in physics now is the fucking theory of nothingness.
Oh, I know about that. No,
Unbelievable.
You know what? I wrote in your chat yesterday that because you're getting a lot of trolls, but more trolls you get means you're getting more under their skin, and they don't like it, and they're gonna say stupid shit when they call you, when they hang up, they say dumb stuff. That means you're winning. That they're making themselves look like idiots.
Yeah, they can't provide me the evidence that it's not flat. I'm sorry, they're doing these laser things. I'm like, no, man, no. Have you ever been on a ship? Well, no. Have you ever been on a ship in the middle of the fucking Pacific Ocean? How far have you ever seen? Have you ever taken a trip anywhere? I'm a hands-on guy. If I'm hands-on, I saw it with my eyes, I know it. I'm not reading the internet. I'm not grabbing I'm doing it and I'm seeing it myself. And then other people are just doing the math because the math is there. Other people could go out and look at it, do the math on the field, hand it back to the other people. They do the math. Say, look, what is fucking flat? It's depressing what it was at first, but now I don't feel depressed anymore. I feel enlightened. I feel loved by God. I feel a God now.
Exactly.
It's close now. I feel like before, I'm going to say to people, look, number one, I was an atheist, man. I fucking debated the Bible. That's why I know the Bible so much. That's why I know it all changed. So because I debated it, I know it changed. With this firmament, I feel God close now. I feel him right there.
Yeah.
Before, it felt like a little insignificant fucking flea, a flea on a flea's balls in the middle of nowhere in this sludge fucking universe. Now I feel like we're right here, man. He's right there. You know, it's like, I feel close now.
And that other mentality is exactly what they wanted you to have, you know?
Yeah. They don't want you to have a God. They want you further away from God.
Hey, Brian, I learned that you have 3 channels.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, I don't have time to read all these books, but which one of your channels would you say can help me give me a lot more information on flat Earth? Do you have one certain channel, or they're all the same? Where should I go to?
My main channel.
The main channel, Dose of Reality?
Yeah, and I do like to premiere. It's good. Well, yeah, it's called Brian Stavely. The YouTube channel's name's Brian Stavely. Yeah. And then I have a backup that's the Real News Online, but that's a straight backup. It's the same videos. So I would tell people, go to my main channel, and then people new to Flat Earth, because what I do on my third channel is I do re-premiere a lot of my old stuff. I re-premiere some of Karen stuff or some of Paul stuff. Okay. That'd be a good place. That's an also good place for them. So they should probably sub both. And that's Brian Stavely, and then the number 3 after it.
Good. Because a lot of people are waking up. Now, we're just touching Flat Earth. This is the first time we've done it.
Well, a lot of people who watched us in the past, Bob, you know, they don't know anything about Flat Earth. I thought let's just have a show about it. Let's just get it out there. Let's talk.
I'm a scientist. I was a fucking atheist that now found God. I know the Earth is fucking flat. I know there's a firmament. I like that. I don't like saying flat. I like there's a firmament.
Bob, you said the word there. God.
Yeah.
Now, does God have? Is there anything about Flat Earth and God at all? By any chance? Since you said the word God, is there anything between God and Flat Earth?
Well, the best thing is it's like we're now in God's house.
Yeah.
Before we were in God's house. We were in the boondocks, man. We were fucking out South 40. We
weren't just in the boondocks. I mean, the mainstream science, the people that give you the heliocentric model, they have a clear agenda to tell you there absolutely is no God. You have no soul. You're dead in the ground when you're done, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Correct.
I got a big fucking problem with that, dude. Sorry.
Now I do. Now
right. I think you mentioned, Brian, maybe I heard it wrong. There actually is something in the Bible that talks about a flat Earth. Am I wrong?
I mean, they don't say the words flat Earth. There are a couple really obscure Bibles that people have shown me, but it talks about the Earth being fixed, immovable, a firmament, all these things that we are observing. They really are in there. And there was absolutely no mention of planets ever, but now in the KJV, planets got Mandela affected into Kings 23:5. But besides that, all the others, they do not have planets still. That's why I use that to trigger the flat earthers, because they get, you're a globey, blah, blah. No, the fucking Mandela effect's real.
No, I always say, I stick with, I'm geocentric. They're like, they don't know what that means. So I tell people, okay, those of you that are just dipping your toes in the flat earth, you don't have to say flat earth. I don't like Mandela effect either. You just say you're geocentric. Just say, I follow the geocentric model, and they're not going to know what the fuck you're talking about anyway. Oh, that's cool. They're not going to know. So if you're embarrassed by saying that word, I don't care.
My phone don't have much battery, and I need to smoke. So how about I leave you guys with a couple of points, and then I'll just hop out and listen. You guys do your thing. You guys are doing awesome, by the way. I think you guys are asking questions. And when I seen that, I didn't know you guys Flat Earth show today. When I seen it pop up with the 30-minute notification, I'm like, oh shit, I'll definitely watch that.
Somebody said yesterday, why are you going to do a Flat Earth show? Because I want to learn more. You know, I don't have time to read all the books. You know, I need to know where to go to learn more.
Yeah,
limited information. If you don't ask the questions, you'll never know.
Well, I'm going to recommend a video, and my mods could probably help it. Karen, I don't know if you're still in the chat, but if you can link your video, My Path to the Flat Earth, it's like a 20-minute video, and it's really, really easy to get your kind of the toes in the water and just to get you thinking. It doesn't have to be about hard science, hard numbers. Just think logically. And back to thinking logically, when they show you those shots from the ISS, allegedly of the Earth, I mean, not only is it so CGI, and you could say, well, Brian, you're just going to say that about everything. Well, you can see the green glow around the Earth. Then they try and make it like you can see city lights. Now, if you can see city lights from the space station with all the other satellites, why don't you see those? Not only that, what about the 7,000 airplanes that fly above the Earth every day? Why aren't they in between you and the city lights and the footage from the ISS? Because it's completely fake.
I know it's fake. I know it's fake. Working at a museum, I know it's fake. I've even asked some of them, we don't talk about that. This is it, dude. This is what I get. Or they do the old, cross your fingers and this. I'm like, come on, man. Tell me the fucking truth about the NASA guys, man. Tell me the truth about the underwater. Yeah, they're underwater. Underwater suits. They're underwater. So they fill them underwater with a green screen, people. So when they're in space, they're underwater in a there's a green screen. There's an IS station underwater in a big ass Olympic pool, and they're down there in basically underwater and they're just doing their thing. They even caught one guy with a drip of water coming. In fact, he had a leak in it.
Yeah. He said he almost drowned. It's like, how do you drown in space?
I was like, this guy's got water coming into his helmet. Where's the water coming from?
They do use other tactics too. They use zero-G planes, so they can do like a 60-second continuous shot of them floating around, and they can be able to show you for those 60 seconds that they aren't on a wire harness. So they'll go and do some stupid shit to try and show that. But then there's other shots where you'll see the wire harnesses, you'll see the green screens. They also use augmented reality. They use every trick in the book, but honestly, they're very sloppy at it. And my opinion is, I think a lot of that is on purpose as a barometer to kind of test where everybody's at, because you can show the normal people, just like you guys. I mean, you guys are normal people. Eric, you're normal dude, but you never caught up on the green screens of the wire harnesses, and I know you're not an idiot. You just never seen it, so they can float that shit out there. People like me, people like Paul, people like Karen, we'll go online, we'll start talking about it, and then they can see where our mind's at. We know they're monitoring us on all the computers and everything, and that's how they set their next thing. That's my opinion. A lot of people in flat earth disagree with me, and they think all those mistakes are on accident, and we're just so good at picking it apart. I disagree.
Go ahead.
Well, I was saying, Brian, you said you got to go. Actually, we got somebody jump on. He's going to give us his opinion. So I appreciate you jumping on, Brian. That's awesome.
Hey,
I'll make sure I put you in the description in your channel and all that. So I'll make sure you get credit.
I'm not worried about that. I'll be in the chat. Hey, boy, what's up, buddy?
We got your replacement. We got your flat earther replacement. Awesome.
All right, we'll see you later, Brian.
Hey, man.
I don't know. I heard this guy's a little chilly.
So, hey, introduce yourself.
Have a nice smoke, Brian.
Who are you?
Hi, guys.
So your name is
I'm Voynich.
Okay.
Very cool, man. You're a flat earther.
Voynich.
You're geocentric, my friend.
Yeah.
So
the thing is,
no, go for it. I'm sorry.
You've become flat earthers since about yesterday, or the day before yesterday. The two of you, or one of you. I don't.
No, yesterday we had a show on Tuesday, and part of our small conversation with the Chiquita channel, we talked a little bit about flat Earth, and I asked them, what would you recommend me to read? What books you want to read? And from that, I just thought, why not have a show about flat Earth to get more opinion and more information? Kind of have a fun chat, because a lot of people who follow me in the past don't know anything about flat Earth. So I just thought, hey, I'll just bring it to the mass, bring it to different people. And that's all this show is about today, is getting some more information out there for, if people want to study it, they can. If they don't, they don't. That's it.
I've been a flat earther. I haven't been a flat earther. I have been on a journey since 2016 when I woke up with the other ME bullshit. We don't want to talk about that. But I woke up around 2016 working in an aerospace museum. And that's when I moved. I started going into the geocentric idea. I massaged the idea. I was doing the math for the idea. I was trying to debunk it, and I can't debunk it. Okay, I can't debunk it because it keeps bouncing back with solid evidence.
We have another guy that wants to jump on too, named Robin.
All right, we'll go forward. We'll have a foursome.
Yeah, we'll have a four-way. How's it going, Robin?
Cool.
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're part of the flat Earth community?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, the first thing that I saw was Matthew Powerland.
Sorry, can you ask me that question again? I've just switched off the watch.
I don't know how much you heard of the show.
Most of it.
Is there anything that we were talking that we didn't mention here that you want to give us some information on?
No, I think you're covering it really well. What's great is I'm seeing open minds. I'm seeing guys that are willing to look at the information before jumping to conclusions.
Yeah.
And that's so important when you first start looking into this thing, because what you're coming up against is your programming. And for some, it's there for months and months and months, and you have to argue with yourself for months and months and months. I run a podcast in the UK.
Yeah, I heard you organized the FE conference in the UK.
That's right, yeah. And we have a PhD scientist called Dr. John D, and that's his channel name. And he's invested heavily in his university career. He's a spectroscopy expert, which means he knows how light works in different mediums. And so he's a laser expert. And he said to me, I had to either throw away all my education or go where the information took me and be honest with myself. And now he's doing laser experiments from Brighton to Worthing. He's doing amazing experiments and calling out people like Simon Dan and all the guys that run these big channels that are there for disinformation purposes. They're just to throw shade and use the straw man and use the ad hominem attacks, never addressing the points directly, never accepting invitations to face-to-face meetings, never going out to do experiments with a real PhD scientist who's using all the scientific method. And he has lots of great guys going down there with him. Roxanne the Globalist Denier, Dave Marsh, lots of other people were there to witness it. And then I think the key thing for me is there are those that can flip over in 24, 48 hours, and good for them. They're following their intuition, the evidence, and they're open-minded. But equally, if you're deeply programmed, and I hate to say this, if you were into Star Wars or if you were into Star Trek, you're really going to struggle. And if you've been in science backgrounds, you're going to struggle, because all of your education is going to really govern how you think, and you're going to fall foul to two fallacies. One of them is appeal to consensus, which means there's guys before me that have done this before, they must have it right because they're educated and clever. And the other one is appeal to authority, which again is that they're better than me, they know better. I've always deferred to someone with a PhD after their name, or a teacher, or a university lecturer. They must know more than me. When the reality,
Robin, can I interject? Because
go for it.
Those were never one of my problems.
Interesting.
Those were actually none of my problems, because I was convinced, like in 10, 15 minutes, doing some calculations and just looking at what I saw outside of the window and how much I would be able to see, and I was done. I mean, I've been on boats since I was a young boy, and I also remember standing on the deck, seeing like a tower, like that's like 40, 50 kilometers away, and I was asking like, how can I still see that? I still remember the answer that I got. They said like, well, if you're just above sea level, like a meter, if you're standing on a small boat, you can see about 4 kilometers around you. I said, if I extrapolate that, this doesn't add up. I'm just a young kid, and I'm asking for affirmation to the people who knew. It's a question of authority, indeed. But I was open to the idea. I was always open to the idea. Like I said, for me, it just took 10 minutes, some calculations, and I was done. But I get that people are far more indoctrinated. That's what we were up against.
It's scary. It's freaking scary. I woke up at 16. I worked at Aerospace Museum. I wanted to be an astronaut, man. I worked with NASA guys. I believed it, with the exception of I didn't believe anybody went to the moon. I knew that was, and then we had all the Apollo shit pop up out of nowhere. I was like, I don't remember these things. There's no play golf on the moon. When did they play golf on the moon? In the museum, setting up an exhibit, having to look at my boss and say, I feel stupid When did they play golf on the moon? He says, well, they did. Well, how do you know? We've got the footage. We're going to install the footage. When did they fucking do this, man?
Yeah. I think another good example is how some people felt embarrassed when they clicked on that first video, and you have to ask yourself, why am I embarrassed? What's going on? Why am I getting a bit angry now? And what's happening there is the programming, because you've been trained as a young child to think this is nonsense and silly.
Yeah.
And you, as you grow older, you've had so many globes put in your subconscious. I was watching a local weather report on my local Bristol channel last night, and I could see just for my county, which is only small, they had a big curvature on the map. It's like, what's going on? It takes me about 45 minutes to drive from one side to the other, and they've put a huge curve.
Yeah.
They're doing it all the time.
I'm in Manchester. I'm up the road from you. I'm over here in beautiful Manchester.
Brilliant.
Enjoying the weather.
I also think a sort of project to a 2 mile curve, like a stretch of whatever material, steel or concrete or plastic, to show the curve, like a meter wide or several meters wide, and then to show the curve and to try and fix it on the curve, because then we will see, look, this is exactly how the curve should be. Now we're going to try where it fits,
Yeah. And another great resource for people to go and see is Mark Sargent's expert.
That would be a nice experiment too, but we know it would fail.
Yeah, Mark Sargent. I see Sargent. He is now. I watch him. I watched him. I didn't know. I didn't know who. Now I'm like, wow. And he's from Washington. I said his stuff makes sense. No, that van. What's his name? That Cy Van Man. Whatever.
Cy Mandan. Yeah, he's a joke.
I'm sad. I really enjoy his stuff. I laugh. He is what you say, correct. I actually enjoy it. I'm going to say it out there, people. I'm not putting the guy down because I enjoy his stuff. He's just debunking. I know it makes me laugh what he debunks. It makes me laugh with the results, because even watching him do his thing is funny. He's like a comic, takes the piss out of everything. But in reality, the other guy wins. Now, we both know that the flat earther is winning, and his stuff makes sense to me. And I'm using his show as a catalyst to watch now. I don't put the guy down. I'm using it to watch as he debunk. I want to see him debunk. So I want to see him do his thing. And he's not debunking. So he's using sarcasm and taking piss out of everything, but that's about what his method is.
Now, Eric, you made a comment that it's difficult to find the right material and you don't know who's telling the truth.
That's true.
I would recommend, there's 3 resources I would recommend.
Okay.
One is flatearth101.com.
Oh, I'll write that down too.
Yeah, which is a website with some of flatearth101.com, which is a website with all the OGs on there doing their best. The other one is festart.co.uk, and those websites are just there for good material. And then I have to say, download the Sun and Moon, Zodiac and Clock app on the phone, because it's got the I'll bring it up now if we can put it on camera. It's got a working model.
I got you on solo.
Oh, okay. Check that out.
Hold on, let me just put the light on. And
wow.
It's got a working model. So if
that's cool.
What's that called again? I'm sorry.
Go to the App Store, and it's got the Sun and Moon Zodiac Clock app. I think I'm too bright.
And it's in the App Store. Kodiak.
The Sun and Moon Zodiac Clock app, and what it's got is the sun moving around its rotation, the moon moving around its rotation, a compass, the time, and a daily video. It's got an FAQ section, which will take you to all the common questions.
Oh, that's great.
And a daily video, which David Wise, DITRH, that's his channel, Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, DITRH. Really good channel. He he posts a new video on this every day. You click on it, and then you'll get a really well chosen video by people who know what they're talking about.
Wow.
That's, man. I got to tell you, dude, that's awesome, because when we started this channel, when I started it, and my brother were co-hosting this channel, the main idea was I'm a learner. I was purely new. He's been in the community for 2016. And the idea was to get information to people like me who are new, and you just did exactly what I wanted. I mean, that's just awesome. That's
great. I'm glad I could help. Glad I could help. And
you got a relaxing voice. It's scary though, because it's so soothing that people might fall asleep. You're the kind of guy I like to listen to when I'm like you're doing a cat nap, because you've got a soothing voice, and I can get all the information. I'm one of those guys that sleep learn. I'm weird. I just sleep learn. You gotta, if you have a show, I'll put yours on. I can just sit back and just listen.
I always tell people that at the end of the day, it's still up to you what you want to choose to believe. I just want to give out different information out there so you can make your own decision. And I want to thank you, Robin. That's awesome.
You're very welcome. And just if you want to find good community, Brian's channel is excellent for massively feel good vibe. And also what else? Live streams. Globebusters is a great live stream. Jeranism is another great live stream. You'll meet great people in the chat there. And Fridays, I do a feel good Friday show. So tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. UK time, if you want some great clips, great music, truth clips, loads of flat Earth good proofs.
Nice.
It's my Feel Good Friday. It's a 2-hour show, and it runs 4:30 UK time. So I think that's about 9 a.m. for most people in the US, or a lot of people. So
that's perfect time for me. That works for me, actually.
Put your link in here, so we got it on the sidebar. We got it with us.
No problem. Somebody can put his link in the chat. I would appreciate that.
Yeah. We try to, because we're a growing community from all over the place, man. Everybody has different jobs that came from different places. I mean, everybody's different, and we're starting to grow. And I think it's fantastic when we get these links on here and we get these people start getting the community people talking.
Listen, I did some numbers the other day, and I was talking to David Weiss, and he's kindly shared my video a couple of days ago on his app, and it's on my channel. Here's the link to that video. If all of us today just converted one person every 3 months, every 4 months, we'd be done in 3.5 years. We would be done. We'd have hit well over 2.5-3 billion people. We'd be done. and I think it's growing so rapidly, it's unstoppable. It's unstoppable.
Brian's got your link right here. So there's his link, Robin's channel, www.youtube.com, user smiler3108.
Cool. More cool things to watch.
It makes it easier because somebody can just click on it from here and go right into it and hit sub, and then it's there. After this show, I'm gonna have to click sub and all this. So this is
fantastic. Fantastic.
Wow.
So I think for people battling their program, just ask yourself, why am I feeling angry? Why am I feeling embarrassed? Why do I feel like this is horrific? And what's happening to me? I think what's going on inside is your programming, and you're battling through that. Because I did that with 9/11. I was like, oh my gosh, does this mean there's a power structure that cares about nobody, and they're willing to do all this heinous things for their own ends? This is different, though. This is deception of the highest order.
Yeah. What's up with the Jesuit Pope? What's up with the was it Lucifer satellite or the Lucifer telescope, man? You're a jerk, man.
And the Pope's
better name. Can you pick Bambi? How about Bambi? What's up with Lucifer? What do you?
So, and what else is there that I should mention for people that are new to this subject is give yourself time. Don't try and make snap decisions. Do what David Weiss does. Like have a bin. Think of a waste paper basket with things that you put in that work on a globe, things that you put in that work on a flat Earth. And over time, what you'll find is, and third bin is things that work on both. What you'll find is nothing's going to end up over here in the globe basket. The middle one will fill up until it's bursting, and occasionally you'll find things that work on both. So, for instance, a good example is Eratosthenes, allegedly, though we can't find proof he existed, did an experiment or test, allegedly, with sticks and shadows, and they were supposed to cast a shadow more so in the stick furthest away, and that was supposed to be curvature, assuming the sun was 93 million miles away. Yeah. However, if you bring the sun down small and local, just like a street lamp and two bollards, you get the same effect because the sun is small, it's local, and so that one goes into that it works in both basket. And what you'll find is the flat Earth basket fills up until you're looking at 200-300 things. And what's going to surprise you is there's nothing over here. Nothing.
Yeah, I went through that hell. I went through that hell at my museum. I went through that hell. People were saying, I was sitting, he's got PTSD. He's sick. He's got problems. How you doing, man? How am I doing? How am I doing? There's no fucking round earth, man. I was going through a depression. My life is the space. It's like, now what do I do? Well, you could get in touch with your creator, your architect, or whatever. You can look at the planet you're on. We could think about fixing this one. We're not going nowhere, Toto. We can fix the waters. We can fix the government. We can feed the hungry here. We can do it here. That's the weird feeling.
So my journey, my daughter came home from work and said, someone at work thinks the Earth is flat, Robin. And this was 2015, October. And I said, she said, you should look into it. You like all these conspiracies. I went, don't be silly. What about Felix Baumgarten's jump? And what about photos of Earth from space? 2 weeks later, I'm sending her a text. What have you done to me?
The rabbit hole, man.
I think the Earth is flat. So it took me 2 weeks, and I was curious, happy, completely bamboozled as well. It's like, what do I do with my life now? How do I break this to anyone? How do I break this to anyone that I know?
I lost all my friends. The aerospace music. Think about it, man. The space music. I lost my friends. They were like calling me, dude, you're fucking
we never had friends. Come on.
I had friends there. They were engineers. There were all the guys from Boeing, the docents, everybody was like a family. And then once I made that discovery, hey, this don't add up, man. This ain't right. These things ain't right. I'm debating it with them like this, shh, just don't worry. You should.
You feel the urge to share it with everyone, and I realized I couldn't do that straight away. I needed to know my stuff. So 6 months later, after stacking my head full of facts and figures, I started dripping it into my family, my friends. I emailed a few truth-seeking radio shows, and I realized there's a massively wide variety of reactions. Some are really violent, especially from people who are big NASA fanboys, excuse me. And then from more open-minded circles, you do get a more Q&A back and forth. What does this mean? What does that mean? And I've enjoyed all manner of reactions, and ended up getting asked on radio shows, and I've got something next week which I'm quite excited about, but let's hope it works out. It's a social media platform that's got a huge following.
Cool. Very cool. Get it out there. We're getting our voice out there. I'm getting it out. I look insane. I look nuts. My old workplace at the Museum of Flight, look at him. He's just fucking crazy. I don't care. It ain't real, man. And they know it. They know it. The curator and I were both standing there staring at the Apollo stuff. Says, dude, we don't know anything about this. This has never existed. What? Well, what? Where's the Operation Paperclip? Why are we hiding everything? Why are we lying to everybody, man?
Yeah.
I think Brian's taking a shot at Robin. He wrote, where is it?
It's too polite.
Too polite.
Well, listen, we got a phone call because I was doing the UK convention. I had a phone call from GMTV, which is an ITV show in the morning, and they wanted to ask me if I would talk to an astrophysicist face to face. So at the time I thought, yeah, I can probably do this, but I wasn't quite ready to go on national TV. So I said to my friend Anthony, who's called his channel Sleeping Warrior, and he does debates almost every day. And she said, I got them on a 3-way call, and I said, and would you like to send some questions in for this astrophysicist? So Anthony sent his top 5 questions, and they were absolute killers. And she had told him, right, we'll pay for hotels, train, all of this stuff, and we'll see you in the morning. And this was Sunday morning. We'll see you Monday morning. And she called him up 6 p.m. that night and said, sorry, it's off. She's with the astrophysicist has withdrawn. So the 5 questions were so challenging that they didn't come forwards. And
yeah, that's right. Of course. I couldn't get answers. I couldn't get answers from the doctors at work. I couldn't get answers from the physicists at work. I was like, I want to debunk. I want to debunk the flat Earth. Help me out. Can you give me something to help debunk? Because so far they've got pretty fucking solid evidence, and I just want to be able to debunk it. That's how I approach it.
The other interesting thing for you guys is Zen Garcia had a court case with somebody called Thompson. So it's Thompson versus Garcia. And this started out being a 10K challenge. You find me proof of curvature at the rate it's supposed to drop, 8 inches per mile squared, or Earth rotation at anything over 100 miles an hour. We're supposed to be 1,000 miles an hour. You do this, and there's a 10K reward. So this guy thought he'd satisfied the conditions. It went into dispute. Zen just left it. Then the guy came back with a legal claim. So it went to court. And if you look up Zen Garcia versus Thompson, you'll see the judge heard evidence from both sides, and the challenger just couldn't do it. It wasn't satisfying in a court of law. The evidence was not satisfactory. And Zen obviously presented some of his findings, long distance photography.
Science has proven it, and it's been proven in court.
Yes. So what we're saying here, there's legal precedent now, and many scientists
science has proven it all along. It's been proven in court twice.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to go to my college.
It's been proven in court twice. I mean, also Copernicus got jailed for saying it was a ball.
Yeah, Copernicus, he was jailed.
And,
that's right.
The guy who said it was a ball in court. And that's 4 years later. So come on.
We did some street activism in Bristol, where I live, and we had thousands of people coming past. Some people from Eritrea in Africa, Ethiopia, and Somalia, and all 3 of those countries teach flat Earth at school. So they look at us and think, how did you buy that nonsense from NASA? They look at us like we're the idiots. It's like they're kind about it. Don't get me wrong, they're kind about it. But one of the guys was live streaming on his phone because he had a 60,000 follower Facebook page, and he was streaming our activism with the banners, and we had big banners and leaflets and flyers. It was great.
That sounds like fun.
It was fun. But yeah, there's
I knew that. I never knew that. That's just the curriculum in school in Ethiopia and in Eritrea. It's just flat Earth.
And Somalia, yeah, that's right. And I think there were classrooms in the UK that were teaching it in 1900 and something, the early 1900s. There were quite a few classes that taught it. Because don't forget, the evidence didn't really, the so-called evidence didn't really come about till the 60s, did it?
Yeah, much later. Much later. As a big old huge lie that went on. It was just get everybody indoctrinated in the same little thing. Jesuits, we got a Jesuit Pope, right?
Yeah.
So,
and universal.
There's classes. I mean, that's cool. I'm sure in the US there's none.
Yeah. And don't forget also Universal Studios logo was about in the 20s and 30s, I think. It was starting to design its logo as a globe. And by the time NASA was here, we already had a space oddity, and things were starting to be programmed before the actual moon mission.
Yeah.
And then when it happened, another interesting fact, my wife does care in the community, and quite a few of her elderly clients, they say, we heard it on the news, we saw it on the news, but we didn't buy it. And they have no internet, you know, they're in their 80s and 90s, and they didn't buy any of it.
Yeah, flat earthers are happy. I've noticed that people that are, I'm not joking, since I've jumped ship, I'm jumped my ship now, and I'm over here with the geocentric people. I like to use that word very much. Geocentric. Very happy people, and some aggressive, some smart, some strong, but there's no real assholes. Now, in the world of science, they're all pricks. Now, I came from there, and everyone's an asshole.
That's funny.
You stop fighting with each other about everything. There's a new evidence found for this. There's new evidence for this.
And the crowd is also very diverse, like you say. It's very diverse.
Yeah. Yeah. And me and Brian were joking. I was joking about, you know, I was an atheist, not anymore. I feel since I've accepted it, I feel good on the inside. I'm closer to God. He's right there. Awesome. You know, I don't feel like I'm isolated out in the boondocks anymore. He's right there.
Awesome.
It's a good feeling. People don't. I tell them, you know, hey, try it on. See, just feel how it feels to have God right there.
Yeah.
He's not on the other side of the fucking universe, of the black hole of blah 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 blah. He's right there. He's right above the firmament, man. He's looking right at me. He's looking right at you. He's looking right at everybody.
That's awesome.
It's kind of fun. I'm looking at the chat, and there's a big, huge conversations about the Wizard of Oz at the same time.
Yeah. Listen, I want to give another great resource, and I don't know how to put this in the chat without trying to find a live page.
Okay.
This is the Mark Sargent Expert Testimonial Witness playlist, and I'm going to read out some of the playlists. Let's just get it up now. Some of the experts he's had on. He's got a U.S. Navy missile instructor, a U.S. Navy submarine chief, a career land surveyor, a U.S. Flight instructor, an industrial valve expert, a U.S. Army artillery radar operator, an international shipping expert, a corporate travel agent, retired U.S. Air Force navigator, Australian intelligence officer on GPS, air traffic controller, meets flight instructor, U.S. Army master gunner, U.S. Army aviation and ground training combat experts, USDA surveyor, etheric science researcher, commercial airline captain, defense intelligence agent, United States merchant marine, flat earth air and traffic control, veteran 737 pilot. There was one from KLM who got grounded when she tried to come out. Industrial vacuum expert, and it goes on. U.S. navigator, cryptologist, Army, AutoCAD technician, pilots with 40 years experience. Well worth a listen, because in that one archive, you're hearing professionals in their own testimony.
To go short, space is scientifically impossible.
Yes. Yeah. So it's so worth it, because what you're hearing is guys that have only just either known for a while or only just realized themselves.
Let me show you guys something cool. Let me show you me at work. Hold on.
Let me put you on solo so people can see it. Now, since I know how to put solo on.
This is me at work. This was me at work right there. That's me cleaning the space shuttle. I'm doing the windows.
How to rub down a big balloon. Yeah.
I actually see that. I see that every single day because my son goes to the aviation high school that's connected to that museum. So I see that every day.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't interrupt you, man. I just wanted you to see that real fast. Where this is how close I was to the business. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, awesome.
Oh, let me go solo. Let me get this off. Okay.
So Robert,
hold on.
It told me that you had to really.
Yeah. There's it's in there.
If you were in this business, you told me that you were very opposed to the idea, of course. So, and Robin just told us that it took him like about 2 weeks to get over it. How long did it take for you, Robert?
Oh, I went into a depression. I said I woke up with
How long did it take for you?
Well, the Mandela effect. It was the Mandela effect. I woke up with that, and so when I went back to work, everything was even the to me, my eyes. I saw the universe change shape. It's not the same one I remember from back home. Regardless of all that, I went into a depression because after doing the math, and then all of a sudden being inundated with all these weird ass flat Earth articles I've never seen them before. I was sampling them because everything's on the table now. Fucking, we're in wacky world. So I was just sampling things, like I said, massaging the idea. And I literally, the math was perfect. About 2016, I was on the journey. I call it the journey, and I had to fight it, man. It was sad feeling. It's weird. I felt like you know how you're in an elevator and you get nervous and you're trapped off and you got claustrophobia. I felt claustrophobic. There's no space. So I felt claustrophobic.
Well, that's
it's a feeling.
That's what Mark Sargent says, and that's what the Truman Show is all about. It's like if you're in an enclosure, you're just gonna want to know where's the edge of this thing, how do I get out, who made it? All these questions are going to come up, and you're going to feel claustrophobic for sure. Whereas
I felt claustrophobic.
I didn't know this. Brian wrote, my co-host Karen is also Mark Sargent's co-host on Tuesday nights, so you guys can hear a familiar voice if you tune in.
That's great.
And Brian's been putting in your page, everybody's page on the chat. So everybody look for Brian's name. He's putting everybody's YouTube channels on here. So sub these guys, man. Sub them. You know.
I got one or maybe two more proofs that are absolutely mind blowing. So
I'm gonna put you on solo.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I've got nothing to show and share, but basically, the humpback whale uses sonar to talk to its mates and its friends.
Correct.
And the one of the largest distances is way over 1,000 miles. Now some people would say it's as far as 4,000 miles, but let's just stay at 1,000 miles for a second. If sonar needs a point-to-point line of sight for that echo, for that wave, that sound wave to hit its target, then where's all the curvature underwater? Because over 1,000 miles, we must be talking hundreds of miles of curvature. And how deep's the ocean in its deepest place? No more than, I don't really know, 5-10 miles.
Yeah.
So we would need a huge bulge, which would create what's called a shadow with sonar. So that's a mind-blowing one, that the humpback whales are proving a flat Earth in spectacular style, because their sound waves are so deep we can't hear them, but they can, and the sound just travels through water so much better.
Well, yeah,
that's proof number one. And proof number two is every single lighthouse proves a flat Earth, because assuming an average height of a lighthouse of about 150 or 200 feet, we can always see them further than 30 miles away. And at 30 miles, they should be over. Thank you, 7 miles, yeah. They should all be hidden behind a curve. Every single lighthouse should be hidden behind a curve. So all you have to do is pick a lighthouse, pick a collection all around the so-called globe, pick one in different continents, find out its height, and find out how far it can be seen from. And I can guarantee you it's more than 30 miles on a clear night.
Wow, that's true. Yeah, I was in the Navy, so confirmed. Yeah. And we had radar on our ship. And we were going for miles with the radar. Miles and miles and miles and miles. It can't be curved then.
Yeah.
In the Navy, if you were in the Navy and you're thinking it's round. I was a helmsman. I went from we used to be Australia way to freak down under, where it used to be down under, but it's a long distance, and I used to be able to see ships from miles and miles and miles out. You light a lighter, you see it.
There's a really, really funny clip that someone did on, I think it's Taboo Conspiracy. Someone correct me if I'm wrong in chat. But what he's doing is he's doing a comedy sketch, right? He's in the command control room of an army boat ship with a gun on the boat, and he says, "Target spotted. Distance 10 miles. Curvature 345 feet. Is that a mirage? Should I aim? Should I take the shot? Too risky. Don't want to waste the gun. Don't want to waste the bullet. Next target, 15 miles. Earth calculation. I don't know, like 500 feet. Is this a mirage? Is it refraction? I'm not quite sure. Shall we take the shot? No. Next target." This is literally what a gunship person would have to do to hit a target. He would have to do all this crazy maths. And
you're going to compensate for the curve if there's a curve there.
This guy wrote, "What if we can go deep enough to get under a possible dome?"
That's
a deep question. Well, the Kola Deep Russian, the deepest we've ever dug is about 8 miles, and that was the Kola Deep in Russia. So that's where the drill bits, they were drilling for 10 years, and a diamond crusted drill bit just kept burning out, just kept wearing out.
Here's an argument for that. I've actually talked. I have to figure this out. What's below? I was doing the flat Earth thing in my head. I converted over to geocentric. So what the hell is below this thing? I keep thinking it's not the center. So it makes sense to me in science that we do have magma. But why is the magma always hot and liquidy? Why does magma never cool down? It's always in its flow. If you had H2O under it, it would constantly keep the magma hot. It would never cool down. It's literally like there's a layer of magma just above what appears to be maybe water.
That's a tough one.
My mind is going, okay, well, it makes sense that magma will maintain its viscosity all the time for however long this comic book is. But with H2O below it, it would make sense that this magma would keep its viscosity and stay hot all the time.
Okay, yeah, possibly.
If people believe in I don't know if they believe in tectonics. I still believe it, even though it's geocentric. I still believe somehow it's floating on, I'm assuming, a liquid magma, and then below that would be water. I'm just doing hypotheticals.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you're just curious about this subject today, what you need to be focused on is the facts. And if you can stick on those, just keep trying to fill up these baskets. I challenge you to try and find some evidence that only works on the globe. And that's the challenge. And, take up the challenge, make it a project for yourself over the next month. See if you can go out and find some real scientific evidence. Don't forget, science needs to be observable, testable, repeatable.
Yeah.
And if you want to get really technical, it has to have a hypothesis, a dependent variable, an independent variable, which shows a cause and effect relationship. But that's just, but basically, as long as you can observe it and test and repeat it, and you can test something's causing something else to happen. Yeah, that's good. I mean, observations are so easy. Just get down by the water on a cold day. If you've got a camera or something with a zoom lens, even better. And do your measurements point to point before you go out, and say, if I'm seeing this, it must be this far away, and you'll be surprised.
Yeah, no, that's it's funny. I took Carl Sagan's class. Carl Sagan wrote a book on principles of science, and it's pseudosciences, it's debunking, it's parapsychology, all the stuff, and they're using the tools of science to do it. And I took this class because it's part of the archaeology. You got to debunk a lot of stuff. And ironically, it would be Carl Sagan's class that I learned to debunk the round earth. He used his own weapons against him. I love the guy. I love his material. I love his class. I love his stuff. You know, and I had to use it to debunk him with the NASA.
That's crazy. Here's another one that somebody called Owen Benjamin, the comedian, if you know him, he would say, this is gravy, okay, meaning mind gravy. It gets you going. Think about the ISS. It's supposed to be traveling at 17,500 miles an hour around the Earth, okay? It's doing this orbit like this. Meanwhile, we're doing 67,000 miles an hour around the sun. Yeah. So this ISS is doing Mark 88, okay, Mark 88, which is impossible, but and it's supposed to be accelerating and decelerating as we're spinning around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour, which means it's doing huge deceleration and acceleration as it goes around this big ellipse. It will fall apart. It would literally fall apart, and not to mention that just us, we're doing the same around the sun. Allegedly, we're speeding up and slowing down like huge speed.
It's a bullet. In layman's terms, people, it's a bullet. It's going to be the speed of a bullet. Okay, let's see this again. ISS station is going at the speed of a bullet. Okay.
Yeah, Mark 88.
It's sitting in a bullet.
Yeah. And yet they're still always playing games. You know, they're just throwing something up in the air. Nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. The women with their hair that could tangle up in all the electrics.
They're
squeezing water bubbles out, as Brian said, that could just go straight into all the electrics. They don't seem to care one bit that they're doing Mark 88.
No. Military hygiene. Women have to cut their hair short. Fact. 100%. They are in the service. Fact. They are serving. They're in the service. Their regulation haircut goes to here. Fact. They've got freaking afros. No.
Yeah.
No, not for hygiene. No. I've been inside. You saw my picture. I was in the shuttle portion where they did all their living and workspace. It's a shoe closet. It's somebody's private shoe closet. It's that compact with sleeping bags, Velcroed to the wall, vertical. I go, and then everything else is just lockers. I go, bullshit, man. You could, and the bathroom. I got a picture on my phone of the bathroom, and it's. You open the door, you go up, and you sit down, and you shut it like you're sitting in a closet, and you're right here to your face, and you've got little Velcro, and you've got a little bit like a plastic, like it's like a star-shaped jagged cut, and you put toilet paper in it, and it holds it. The little star-shaped, it holds the toilet paper. I go, no.
Listen, I want to put something in the chat, so at some point perhaps this can go in chat. But this is a picture of the Lem Lunar Lander, which looks like it's made up of paper, tin foil, curtain rods. And what I do is I show women this picture. If you wouldn't mind posting this in the chat, I don't know how to do that. This picture looks like,
let's see this.
It looks like the worst piece of DIY you've ever seen. And I ask mothers in the street, I say, would you put your children inside of this and submerge it underwater? And they all look at me and go, you're having a laugh, aren't you? You're having a laugh. Because it's so bad. It really is bad.
Well, there's a hatch on top. People don't know there's the one that landed on the moon. There's a latch, there's a circle latch on top. And I was in it. So I've been in it several times. And I'm like, this latch has got seals, just rubber cheap seals that are subjective to sun temperature.
Can I screen?
Go ahead.
Yeah, brilliant. Sorry to interrupt you. I was wondering, could I screen share it, or are you able to do it, Eric?
I'm trying to learn how to share. It says, Eric, give him the screen if you can.
I can do it if you're okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's have a look. Where's this one here? There we go. Tell me if you can see this.
Yes, we can see it.
Look how bad that is.
Yep.
That supposedly survived a -10 torr vacuum. It lifted off from the moon. If you look up the moon, I'll probably be able to find the video, which is a joke, where it takes off and the camera pans up this space junk, heap of junk, seems to have Flash Gordon sparkles coming out from underneath it. And this, if you really zoom into this, well, you don't really need to. Look how appalling that is. The aerodynamics are absolutely amazing. I think I would rather roast my turkey in that than put my children in submerged water.
I've been in that. I was inside of that. It's fucking thin tin. You got a micro meteorite, like a bunch of machine gun would go right through it. Your finger can go through if you punch hard enough.
Brian wrote, wouldn't let my dog sleep in that.
It's a beer can, man. It's a beer can.
Yeah.
It looks like paper. I mean, it literally looks like it's put together with paper and tape.
I've been in it. It's a beer can. You guys think I'm joking? Make something out of a beer can, and that's what it feels like on the inside. Flexible beer can.
It's absolutely terrible, isn't it? And I have got another screen share which I'd love to share.
Yeah, go for it. It's all yours.
I think if I can just put this in the same window, it'll change. So let's try this. Can you see that?
I can see it.
Yeah.
Full screen.
I
looks like coming out of the Flash Gordon movie.
Yeah, I showed this to my 8-year-old grandson, and he laughed. That is the worst thing. If you're still defending, I'm going to do it again.
Do it again.
If you're still defending this after seeing this, I can't help you. And how did the camera pan up?
Who's running the camera anyway?
Yeah. And how did we live stream? How did we stream this clear from 238,000 miles away?
Actually, let's go back to that question, Bob. You said that right. I mean, how is there a camera recording that? I mean, that's a good question.
Who's recording it land when it landed?
Taking off? And then not just recording it, right? Okay, if you set a recorder down and you leave, right, the recorder is going straight, but it seems like it's following the ship going up. So is there somebody left behind moving the camera to follow it?
Not only that, the compression, all the air, or all the it's just tanks. It looks like butane. People don't understand. It looks like butane on the side of a. Here's a picture, Eric, if you can see that. Oh,
sorry. Which screen have you got now? Are you still seeing the lunar takeoff or not?
No, it's off now.
There it is.
Okay.
There's Bob showing his.
Yeah, I was in that. There it is. You see those little things right there? That's what gets it up and down, sideways and up and down. That little thing right there, it's connected to a size of a butane tank. Okay, that's what's maneuvering you around. A butane tank. That's it, guys. That's what's got you up and down. That's what makes you move. Little less. You ever have a cone, ice cream cone? That's it.
I've got one more thing to share, and I'll share the audio. Here we go. Here we go. This is Nixon making a call to the guys on his landline.
The proudest day of our lives. And for people all over the world, I am sure that they too join with Americans in recognizing what an immense feat this is. Because of what you have done.
Can you tell me what technology this is, guys?
I can't. That's the problem. I can't tell you. and I worked in the cable business for over 15 years with cable, phone, fiber optics, and stuff.
Well,
He did.
Robin, let me tell you.
I'll stop sharing now. There you go.
Guys, I'm calling the
Robin, I can tell you what the technology is, but we destroyed it, and it would be such a nuisance to build it back.
Destroyed it.
Yeah, of course. We lost all the photos, all the telemetry data, and the technology.
I'm talking to ISS, guys. I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you guys. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead. I'm talking to you guys. You're moving at the speed of a bullet, but I'm having a conversation with you. You guys cut your hair? How's the hair in your throat feel? But she got her fucking hair everywhere. Does it smell like hairspray? What's up with that? What's with the cables? Isn't your face supposed to be bloated out because there's no pressure? So you're supposed to look like a fat guy? Like your face is supposed to be bright red in your skin because there's no pressure against your body, so your organs are going to stretch out, so you look fat. You're going to look like a fat guy floating around in space because there's no pressure on your body. But these dudes, you guys look fit, man. You guys look fit. All right, take it easy, man. Eat the freaking pudding. The best part is the pudding in space.
Oh, so funny. So it doesn't take
NASA and the greatest achievement in human history.
Yeah, that's sarcasm, I hope.
Yeah.
No, somebody wrote that. I was just putting it out there.
NASA actually adds, if you guys do your math for it, NASA as 13. Comes out to 13. I'm saying. I mean, you guys read the 13 number things. Everything comes out to 13. Well, if you do NASA on the scale, it comes out to 13.
Yeah.
Ironically.
13. Yeah. That was a good inside joke that someone just put up there. There was a tweaker. A tweaker's homeless shelter. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. It's a bathroom. There is, by the way, I was in there. I'm going to tell you guys the truth. I was like, where's the bathroom? It's small. I'm a big guy, and the other guy was in it with me, was a little bit shorter, and we were back to back in it. And I'm like, okay, dude, if I gotta drop a deuce, where are we going? Well, we would wear. They said we wear the uniform. You're wearing your ash. You're just going in your britches. I go, okay, so you're spending all of that time with your own poo poo? No, I saw it. And I'm like, I pull it out of the artifact drawer.
Listen, Bob, in the cable days when we couldn't use a bathroom, we had a little plastic that we kept in the van so we could go to the bathroom. And then we hold it, and later on we dump it.
They're in diapers,
bathrooms.
They're in these diapers. It's impossible. No, guys, I'm going to tell you guys, it's impossible to be in these type of diapers at that time. I know it sounds funny. I seen the diapers. I held up. They weren't used, but they could not sit in this that long. Okay, a baby would have a rash after so many minutes. They were in their own whatever's you wanted to say it for hours, guys. Like what? No, you would have a rash, man. No,
the police is on its way. So it looks like the dot police is on its way for us.
Oh shoot, we're in trouble.
He goes, "Oh, you guys are too much."
Yeah. I've got another quick share if you don't mind. This is satellites now.
Yeah, I'm loving this.
Satellites, okay. This is a great share this week. I'll turn on the audio as well. Here we go.
Here we go.
Can you see that?
Yep.
Right. This is called "It Doesn't Add Up" by a channel called Eye Level Awakening. It's brilliant. It's 1 minute long.
Stand in for him for a minute.
Oh yeah.
Three gentlemen walked into the hotel meeting room. They were informed that the room would be $30 for the night. The three men each gave the bellman $10, and the bellman quickly escorted him up to their room. Upon returning to the desk, he found the front desk clerk had returned and told them about the three men. The desk clerk told him that he had overcharged for the room and gave him five $1 bills to return to the men. On the way up the elevator, the desk clerk, not knowing how to divide the $5 evenly, stuck two in his pocket, and upon arriving at the room, gave each of the men back $1. Now the men had each paid $9 each for the room. And here lies the problem with mathematical sophistry. The three men paying $9 would equal $27, plus the $2 that the bellman stuck into his pocket equals $29. Where is the missing dollar? Math is proof of nothing. And this proves that math can be wrong.
There
This
you
proved
go.
nothing. I love it.
Yeah, isn't that great? I'll stop sharing. There we go.
Oh God, no,
That's
those are
awesome. That was
brilliant. Man.
awesome.
So there's your satellites, guys. NASA are the biggest consumer of helium anywhere. They have the biggest film studios on the Earth, and I think they have the biggest like swim tanks as well.
Well, remember, I told you guys I debunked something. I like to debunk first. So the original in the 80s, the Space Command, before Space Force, there was Space Command. Now it has that same little. I showed that little Star Trek symbol, and it has what looks like it's got the little loops around it for the particles. Like a nuclear symbol. Well, it has double particles, and if I looked it up, it's helium. Why do they have a symbol? Why do they have why helium? Why is the double part helium? Helium. I go, why helium of all the elements to have represented on your freaking Space Command is helium? Yeah. I go, well, that makes sense because on my ship, USS Blue Ridge, we launched balloons. Okay, for investigating or whatever you want to say, I'm going to say where, but we launched balloons. Why didn't we just use the satellites? We could have just used the satellites. We launched balloons. Why balloons? Balloons. We could just use the satellite. Well, we launched. I went out in a boat and I had to pick up the balloons. We go pull the balloons in with a little recorder. We could use satellites. They say we got satellites. You can go. You can look at the pores on your nose.
The thing is, I've done activism and talked to a guy who claims to have made satellites, and he got really sort of clever and trying to be clever with me. He said, "How do you think your phone works?" I said, "Well, land-based towers. That's how we get the GPS triangulation from land-based towers. Why is it when I go out on a cruise or a boat, I only need to get 50 miles out and there's no signal? Where's the satellite then?"
Yeah, where's the satellite then?
And you go on a Royal Caribbean boat, there's a mast on that boat with its own generator and power system.
Yeah.
And you get charged a fortune if you connect to it. But the other thing is that there are satellites up there, but they're just floating in upper atmosphere for probably months before the helium gives up and it comes down again. And we do see footage of satellites crashing. So there is some imagery going on in what Robert Simmons would be strips of data.
Yeah.
Robert Simmons strips of data. But this is quite a hard one to defend when you're first coming into flat Earth. Is you're not ready to defend satellites because you think there are people making them. They're going up. We are getting some kind of imagery, but never a full photo of Earth. And it never goes up high enough. And anyone who's ever tried as an amateur to send something up, it hits something or they don't get that far. Something else I was taught, which was there's something called an NASB, which is the National Aerospace Safety Bureau, which is a governing body for all private rocket amateurs and commercial entities who want to send a rocket up. They have to submit a planning permission. They had to declare their telemetry, their payload, the technology, everything. And what will happen is the NASB is owned by, guess who? NASA, or at least the same entities that invest into NASA. And that means that no one private really gets to do that independent thing, because what you realize is if you could take over the control of a rocket, or you could take over the telemetry data, you now have the power to present back to the world, this is what happened, and only a few people need to know. And I think maybe Richard Branson got a tap on the shoulder.
Yeah,
because his first mission, somebody died, or it was a really bad crash, wasn't there?
Yeah, we had his stuff at the Museum of Flight, Bronson's stuff, or Branson. We had it hanging. I know all about it. We set it up. I actually saw it. What it was going to do is it was going to hitchhike on the back of a rocket or a shuttle or whatever have you. Is going to go up there and it was going to release it like it's a little ass airplane, basically. Same would be like an airplane. It goes up to the atmosphere like a roller coaster. It does a little bit up there, and then it comes down. Yeah. All it's doing is going up and then coming down, and it's a multi-seater. So you're strapped in, for one thing, hoping you'll make it there. You're going to pay lots of money to go up, and you come right back down. That's what it's designed to do. It's not going into space. They said down.
Really interesting study that nearly all of us didn't catch on to until recently, which go on DITRH channel, go back a month ago, and he was doing 3 or 4 videos in a row of the old space shuttle looks like a balloon, and it goes up so slowly that you can see it also bumping like a lightweight object before it actually takes off. And David zooms in on the mounting that's attached to the aeroplane that takes it up, and he says, first of all, he shows a picture of Concorde, which does Mach 2, beautifully sleek piece of engineering. Second picture is the SR-71, does Mach 3, beautifully sleek piece of engineering. Then he goes to the space shuttle, which does Mach 88 or something. It does 17,000 miles an hour. Again, it's Mach 88, and it looks like a brick.
It's a brick with wings.
Then he zooms in on the fixings to the airplane that look terrible. They look so spindly and feeble. And then what else is it? It's doing just crazy speeds. That's right. Another good channel is Crow 777. I think it was Crow 777 who filmed them coming in to land, and you can hear jet engines.
Yeah,
there's no jet.
Crow was on Brian's show just like 2 weeks ago.
That's right, and he filmed the space shuttle coming in, and you can hear the jet engines. You shouldn't have jet engines on the space shuttle.
No.
It hasn't got jet engines. And then you look how they're concealed at the back. They're there at the back.
Yeah, it falls. It free falls like a brick. It doesn't fly. It falls.
Yeah.
It falls, and when it gets to it fall glides. It fall glides. Once it gets to a certain area, and then they pull the fucking chute. They pull the chute to stop it. Boom! The chute. Can't have heat. The chute would melt, but I don't know how that even happens. But it falls like a brick. I don't even know if there's people in it. I don't fucking know. It's
nobody goes to space. Yeah, and if you
look, just put the YouTube on Crow 777 up in the chat.
He's red pill. He is a red pill machine. Crow 777, amazing channel. And just the more you think it through, the impossibility of space and space travel, the ridiculous machines they've used, the number of times you've caught the astronauts out with harnesses and green screens and wires, the impossibility. If you listen to Mark Sargent's expert testimonial videos, he's got a vacuum expert, and he says that thing would have popped out like a balloon. He also says the valve and seal expert says, if you were in those extreme conditions, you would need to maintain all the valves and seals every year, loads of times. It's been up there 20 years and no one seems to have changed a single valve. It
would be nothing but bacteria. It would have been nothing but bacteria. They'd have been sick. You can't do No, you can't be up there. I saw the artifacts. I touched the spacesuits hundreds of times. I saw all the old suits to the newer suits. They're just for shows. So you go on the inside. I'm inside of the suit, and you would think it would be a diver's. Now I know diving. I was in the Navy. Diving suits are specific for diving, and these motherfuckers, they'll save your life. I'm looking in this. This isn't a diver suit. This is a uniform. This is like you'd wear a costume at a costume party.
Here, let me share a screen if I may.
Sure.
I'm gonna do the 17-second rail car. In a vac. When we take the air out of a rail car, this is what happened. So that's pretty powerful. So that is less than the force of space that would have on, I'll stop sharing there. That is less than the force that those guys are under.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's the submarine concept. I always remind people, you want it layman's terms, don't look at space stuff. Go look at a submarine. Go look at anything with a submarine. Fuck the space. Get the space shit's fake. Go look at submarine technology. Look what a submarine does underwater. Look what a submarine does. Look at what happens in a submarine. Look at the problems of a submarine. Look at all the pressures that a submarine experiences, and then reverse it to space. It's the same concept. A submarine has hulls that are thick. They got things, man. I've been in a submarine. You can't be. It's thick with shit. You go in. I've been in the capsules. What's this little gasket, man? This little thin ass rubber gasket. You're telling me this little gasket, this little ass thin black gasket, with the conditions of heat, equivalent to like a freaking, really, really hot, sun hot, and then you have extreme negative cold. It crack.
Can I another quick share? Only 10 seconds. This is Stretch Armstrong in a vacuum chamber.
Oh yes. Yes.
So this should be Buzz. This should be Buzz and Neil.
Yes.
Look at that.
That's what I said.
Go.
Faith should be that.
Go. Blow. Blow. Come on. Do it.
I wish I had one of these as a kid.
Oh my God. This is the best toy in the world. Let's blow shit up.
Explode.
Let's blow the astronauts up.
Explode.
Help me, Buzz. Help me, Buzz.
Blow it up.
So I'll turn the music off so we can talk whilst it's happening. But
oh, it's so awful.
There's nothing better than talking and watching something blow.
Oh.
So those space suits would behave like that.
Yeah.
That's a vacuum pulling on him. And the only guy who ever tried it in NASA nearly died.
Yeah, we talked about that. I saw that footage, by the way, at the museum.
Yeah.
I said he's dead. He's supposed to die.
Look at Stretch Armstrong. He's not having fun in there, is he?
Oh, God.
It's great. It's great.
Oh, there's your space concept. Bullshit.
Blow.
Let me just see how long we've got to go. Oh, there he is. Painful for those astronauts.
Remember, people, this is a human. Okay, we're looking at a toy, but it's a human in space. This is what a human would do in space. This is homeboy playing his guitar, Major Tom.
It's not going to
Major
flow.
Tom, my ass.
I don't think so. I think he's going to put tax in now. So anyway, there's a demonstration. That's pretty good, isn't it?
That's good. I need to add it to my
Oh. Earth controller Major Tom, my ass, man. It looks like what was that movie Arnold Schwarzenegger was in when he's on Mars and he falls outside of the pressure.
Yeah.
And his eyes are bulging out of his freaking head. That's what happened, man.
Total Recall, isn't it?
Total Recall.
That's it.
I
Yeah.
didn't think of the name. I was just.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, people. It don't take a scientist to go stupid.
I am so enjoying talking to you guys because hopefully there's some people who are also looking into this, watching and thinking we've got some serious questions now. And I've really enjoyed your company, gents, and I've just had a few texts from the family who need me now. So I wondered if you'd mind if I say a fond farewell and thank you for having me on.
Usually we end the show around 2 hours anyway, and we went 2 hours and 30 minutes. So we'll just end the show on this because this was great, man. I want to thank you. I told Brian a couple of weeks ago when he went on our show that we could have paid somebody to come on our show, and it's just fantastic. You just jumped right on without even me asking you to come on. I mean, that's how far we come along.
Yeah, well, you're welcome.
We got Voynich in here too, man. He's kicking ass down there. We got a rock and roll house here.
Nice to see you, mate.
So I want to thank everybody coming on. If you haven't subbed to any one of these people, please sub.
It's not me kicking ass.
You guys delay.
I mean, you guys, you invited Robin and Brian Stavely, and those are, as you can see, like quite earthers. They bring it. They bring it like it is, you know. It's not cold fact. It's not cold facts. It's warm facts, you know.
Listen, I got more out of the show. I thought.
I want to thank you, Robin, for your excellent video presentation.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. No, that's good.
Very informative.
Glad you enjoyed it.
We're not worthy.
Well, no, we love everyone who shares the truth. So if anyone wants to see some more good clips like that, find me on tomorrow's show it's 4:30 UK time. The Feel Good Friday show.
I'll be there.
Everybody, I'm going to end the show. I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank Brian for jumping on.
Yeah, that's a good show. Everybody be there.
All right, guys, I'm going to end the show with our intro that we started the show with. See you guys all later.
Just one touch and I'm lost inside your love. Just one touch.